Hi, everybody. It's Denise with Divine Soul Astrology. Today I'm here to discuss the horoscopes for August of 2026. It's really a great month because the sun is in Leo, right? And the sun is warmth, provides vitamins, grows our food. And also, the sun is life, but the sun is our true identity. It's our sense of self. It's how we express ourselves, and it is being true to yourself. Yeah, that's the sun. It's also, of course, our talents because that is related to our creative expression, our self-expression. It's children, it's out having fun, it's enjoying creative pursuits or just, recreational activities, going to the movies and, all these kind of things that we do. Vacations. August is a month of vacation. Yeah, so it is a great month. And so now I'm going to have all the 12 signs and I have the timestamps right underneath at the top of the comments. So all you have to do is click on whatever sign you want. It will take you right there. Let's get right into it. And this is Leo month, right? Until the sun enters Virgo, and that is on the 23rd. Yeah, the sun enters Virgo on the 23rd. So, but for now, we have Chiron has gone direct, or it will go direct on the 3rd, right? Right now I have Aries on the ascendant because that will be the first sign. But right now we are just talking, we're talking about, we're doing the intro here because it's very important for you to understand when we get to your sign, right? I mean, I believe it is. So let's move to the 3rd, and we see Chiron, and we'll move a couple hours ahead. And here it is showing up retrograde at 1:42 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. All right. So let's put this back on the day. And Chiron it is retrograde until December the 3rd. So that means that we have 5 months to reflect, to be in introspection, things like that. Really on themes of self-worth, security, finances, your physical body and your health as well, and healing old wounds related to values and survival. Yeah, those are very important themes, I would, right? So, yeah, and it's called a wounded healer for, a particular reason. It's Chiron was somebody who was wounded, and he was a centaur, but he knew a lot about medicine. In those days, it was natural medicine. There wasn't, right? It was plant medicine. And so he cured himself. He healed himself. So we can do that. Yeah, we can. So yeah, so I mean that is the idea, and that is my belief as well. But always see your doctor, and just we're not doctors here. No, we're not. So yeah, but yeah, so we have Chiron is the wound that we use to sabotage ourselves. And so I have a whole video on that, right? But it is a wound we can use to sabotage ourselves. That's why it needs healing. We need to overcome it, right? On the 6th, Venus, the planet of love and money and self-worth, is entering one of its home signs into Libra. Let's move the wheel to the 6th. Now we can see Libra for Venus at 0 degrees in Libra. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing here. Trust me, it is. Um, because, right, Libra rules the seventh house of partnerships, harmony and balance, and how we create that in our lives, and also opponents, things we don't agree with, or situation, people, and justice, right? So that's a very important Venus in Leo. And so this will, protect our relationships. That's what it's going to do. It's going to encourage more harmony, right? As well. And that can help us with our finances. It sure can, because Venus rules Libra, which is beauty. And so beauty and harmony, and Venus rules Taurus, which is self-worth, basically well-being and finances. Yeah. So yeah, and so when Venus moves there, relationships may become the focus, harmony and balance, peace and fairness. That's what Libra wants with the scales. That's what Venus wants. Diplomacy and negotiation, and also artistic inspiration, because as I was saying, Libra represents beauty. Yeah. So and on the 9th, we have Mercury, the planet of thinking, will enter into romantic and self-expressive Leo. and we might feel more expressive, especially about love or about with our own talents, things like that. Um, and communication can come from the heart or more dramatically. Mercury and Leo can bring creative ideas. And what I was saying dramatically, I'm saying that because Leo does rule drama because it rules talents, but maybe our communication can get very, could get lovey-dovey, but it could be also dramatic. So kind of watch out for that because some people can be overly dramatic. Yeah, and so this is great for public speakers, podcasters, including YouTubers, teaching. It's great for teaching, marketing, selling anything you create. It's also great for your willpower. Yeah, because Mercury does rule willpower and Leo rules basically living from the heart and courage. All right. So if you've wanted to write anything though, you could feel more creative and more passionate about that. Mars enters Cancer on August the 11th and shifting the energy, right, into Martian energy to really slow down. And this is going to be more directed to family. Let's move the wheel to the 11th and we can see that Mars has entered Cancer. And here it is, right? And this is basically the warrior inside of nurturing Cancer. So in a way, we can say that there's two ways to look at this, really. But yeah, because Mars can really is, one way has to abide by Cancer's loving and protective rules. At the same time, Mars doesn't is not concerned with that. No, it's definitely not. Mars is concerned with action and drive. It doesn't have time to think about feelings and things like that. No, because it's a fast-moving sign, right? It's a fire sign. It's also a cardinal sign. And so cardinal signs, they want to get right to it. Like, oh, I want that. Here I am. They are self-starters. That's what they are. So, yeah, and so but the energy it can be more directed to family or nurturing and protecting, right? And domestic projects. So if you want to, because Mars is energy, right? And action. So if you want to, fix your home or renovate it or make it more cozy, which is Cancer is very cozy. Cancer loves the cozy home, right? So it can be a great time to do that. People can be more protective of loved ones. Yeah, and the lower expression of that is we could become more defensive. Yeah, because as I said, Mars and Cancer is, they're opposite, right? So people can become defensive, even passive aggressive. Mars and Cancer can be passive aggressive. Look out for those folks, right? Yeah, because passive aggressive is usually it's not so noticeable, right? It's kind of a quieter energy, and then you're like, oh my God, right? Yeah, and so a lot of people don't know they're being passive aggressive either. That is, yeah, it's kind of a wild one, right? So on August the 12th, let's move the wheel. On the 12th, we have the new moon. That's going to be a solar eclipse in Leo. Okay, so that's going to be, and we can see it right here with the moon at 21 and the sun at 20 degrees. Here they are. They're hanging out. They're being best friends, and they said, "Come on, let's do this together. Let's use the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and we're going to create something new. We're planting new seeds for the future." So that'll be in Leo, and that's going to be just great because Leo's courage and right, yeah, it is, and self-expression, your talents, and really the courage to be you. That's really Leo in the highest expression, right? So then we also have a another eclipse, and that will be the lunar eclipse. That's a full moon eclipse in Pisces. And the full moon eclipses they can be life-changing. They definitely can, all right? So I'll have separate videos on that. Um, yeah, and so Mercury, the planet of thinking, will be conjoined with Jupiter in Leo once again because it went retrograde, right, on August 15th. So let's go to the 15th here. And I like how we can hop around to these different days, right? We sure can. Months and years even, right? And so here is Mercury with Jupiter. And they've been conjunct, but now they're in a perfect conjunction, both at 10 degrees on the 15th. So on the 15th, If you have a creative idea, August 15th, you better write it down because, or you should, right? Not better, but you should because Mercury rules your mind and writing and communicating, but it rules ideas, and Jupiter rules, expansion, right? And higher purpose. Yes, so go with that, right? So go with that idea. And Leo, as I said, is talents. So yeah, on the 15th, um, and so yeah, and these are both mutable signs, so they really blend. Yeah, even though they're opposite signs because Jupiter rules Sagittarius here and Mercury rules Gemini here. So these are opposite signs. There's always an invisible type kind of opposition going on, which really means is asking us to create some type of balance and merging. Right. So yeah, but they work together because this is the intellectual axis between Gemini and Sagittarius, right? All right. So and that can encourage us to motivate other people. Maybe some of us want to, become motivational speakers or just start doing that in your work, maybe, right? Motivating others. Jupiter is very enthusiastic and inspirational for sure. This can help you with your business, right? And Mercury does rule business as well. This could be a time for announcements. Yes, where somebody is expressing from the heart. Could be a time for announcements, learning, teaching, traveling, and yeah. And this can motivate us or motivate you to lead yourself with more consciousness. That's what Jupiter wants. It wants more consciousness, which is your higher self and your intuition, really. It's you're in your higher consciousness, right? Which is really trusting your intuition and trusting your life path, right? And knowing yourself. That's really you will start to move toward your life path when you know yourself, right? And that's what Jupiter wants. It rules higher purpose, higher realms, God and religion. Yeah, it does. Astrology as well. So, all right. So, mentoring, you also, and also, you may want to help guide others through your wisdom, teach spirituality, or simply talk about it. And mentoring is a very kind of Jupiter mercurial expression. The sun enters Virgo, and Virgo, discerning Virgo and refining Virgo, right? Virgo wants things to get done properly, right? After all the fun you had here in Leo, yeah, the sun moves into kind of serious Virgo, right? But on the 23rd, and we'll move the wheel up here, and we're gonna, and here it is. And so this is will encourage everybody to, in some way, kind of organize their life or organize their daily routines, their habits, pay more attention to your health. Maybe ask yourself, am I in the right work? You can do that. Virgo represents work and wellness, right? Um, Yeah, and the attention will turn to health, as I said, but it could be, health as such, or the health of anything, right? The health of my relationship with my kids, or the health of my relationship with my bank account, or anything like that, right? Yeah, there's a relationship there too, right? Refining long-term goals and solving practical problems. Because Virgo rules the sixth house of problem solving. Yeah, it's obstacles and problem solving, right? So, yeah, and so that's because Virgo wants to refine and improve. Virgo represents methods and systems. That's why Virgo, it's great to work with Virgos because they're going to do the job right. Yeah, if we talk about efficiency, we talk about Virgo for sure. And I even have a story about that briefly. This is a family, kind of a distant family member, but she was working for some woman, and the woman was like hovering, and she was doing the accounting or something like that. So the woman was trying to tell her how to do it, and the woman couldn't do it right. And she used to complain to me. She wants me to do it her way, but it's inefficient. It's incompetent. So I think eventually the lady, kind of went her way, but I feel like it created kind of a riff a little bit between them. So after that job, she realized what a badass she was, and she went to get her degree. Yeah, it's a happy ending, right? So yeah, it's going to be a great time for improving. And the sun will reach Mercury on the 27th, and that will bring clarity. And I will show you the wheel here. And here is the sun and Mercury, both at 4 degrees. You know, they're both conjoined. There's a little bit of a loose conjunction with the node here, but the nodes have wider orbs, so we're going to go with it. This is like a 5 degree orb. But here is the baggage of the south node, right? It looks like a bag. So, yeah, and so, that is going to, help us understand where we need to leave things behind and the things that we need to move away from and how to improve because they will be in Virgo. The South Node will be in Leo. It's just recently moved into Leo. But the whole point about it is that the South Node in Leo is saying, be yourself, let go of kind of ego, right? But be yourself here and shine. And let go of these limiting things or these things that you know so well and have courage to move into possibly newer talents or just to show the world who you are, right? If there's something that you wanted to do and you maybe didn't have courage, right? And this is common. This is not to criticize. Good God, no, right? I know I've been down like a few roads. Yeah. So I understand big time, right? And this helps you grow. It sure does, right? So that south node, right? We want to move away from it though, or we want to go over here to the north node. I say it every time, but maybe some people, there's nothing wrong with repeating it, right? Interesting on that day because the north node is where we want to go. It's our destiny, right? It's not our fate. This is fate over here. What happens to us that we can't happen to us in a past life, what's happened to us yesterday or I don't know, last year or whatever, or in some cycle even that seemed like it was never ending and it was, troubling maybe. But we can move away from that. But that happens to us. That's fated. But this is destiny, what we can do with our lives, what we can do with that, right? With whatever's been given to us, what we can do with it. And if we can't do anything with it because we learn from it. That's really what this is about. This is about moving away from conditioning or wounds or anything like that, right? And things that in this over here is really having the courage to follow your compass, right? Which is shown in your natal chart, your own chart, not here on YouTube. This is mundane astrology, and there can be definitely some resonating here, but your own chart it's so very deep, right? Shows your lineage. This is your lineage here. Yeah, and your fourth house and all these houses, yeah, that are derived houses, yeah. So the moon will be opposing the sun that day, and that is right on is that the eclipse? Is that the day of the eclipse? No, it's the next day is the day of the Pisces full moon lunar eclipse. So it's really, this is the day before the full moon. Highly fascinating how that is, all right? So yeah, and so that's going to bring clarity on the 27th. That full moon lunar eclipse can definitely change your life. A big clarity, right? Kind of like, sometimes a hammer, right? A boom, right? Kind of like that, right? Fresh insights, decisions for sure. Mercury rules decisions, discussions about important and practical matters in Virgo, and seeing things from a broader perspective. Yeah, we always want to be open-minded here because yeah, it can be the best of the West, right? The best in the West, but if you are not, or the East, right? But if you are not, if you don't have a broad perspective, then we can be short-sighted, right? Yeah, we don't want that, no, because we can miss out on things, right? So yeah, and those eclipses, I'll do separate videos on them. I sure will. So let's get into Aries and yeah, and so for Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising on the third, and we'll move the wheel back as well. So let's go back to the third here. Okay. And on the third, we have natal Mars, and that is making a sextile to Chiron, right? Chiron goes retrograde on the third. It's right here. So Mars is here in Gemini. Mars is here in thinking Gemini, and that can really talk about, hey, I'm going after these ideas that I have, or I'm going to learn new skills or set new goals. That's really what Mars in Gemini can be. It can also be kind of a sassy mouth, so we have to be careful for that, not to argue with people, right? Yeah, don't waste your energy, right? So here we have Mars, though, and it's making a sextile to Pallas Athena. It's at 24 degrees, and it is making the sextile to Vesta as well. So, that sextile right there, there's an opportunity to heal something or overcome it, right? And Mars, yeah, Mars is in thinking Gemini, and the retrograde will give you ample time, Aries, to let something go or overcome it psychologically. It's probably, it can be psychological for sure. If it's physical, you are a physical sign, but that doesn't necessarily, Gemini is not. So, it doesn't necessarily mean it's physical. But you have 5 months while, Aries, excuse me, Chiron is retrograde, right? To kind of figure it out or understand it, right? That's what reflection does. That's what Chiron represents, reflection and healing. And so, excuse me, guys, but that reflection can really bring you wisdom, right? For sure, or bring you an understanding, a major understanding, and that's very important, right? Yeah, and that's what Gemini can be understanding right here. All right, so um yeah, so let's see what else I have here. And on the 11th, natal Mars enters Cancer. And so let's move to the 11th here. And here it is. And here is Mars in nurturing Cancer. And and so the focus can be, emotional needs or the physical home and family or domestic matters when Mars moves into here. I talked about that in the intro just a little bit, right? Yeah, and so yeah, could kind of motivate us to fix up the house, could or to move even, right? And Venus enters your seventh house of relationships, and here is Venus already. It entered it on the 6th, I believe. That's right. And here's Venus, and it's in its own home sign, Aries. So, and this is your opposite sign, right? This is the axis that Aries and Libra sit on. All signs have an axis because the opposition is an ongoing theme to help us create balance in our life. And so that opposition here, we have Mars, though. Let's see what Mars is doing, making a square. So it's actually Venus squaring Mars. And yeah, and so, but Venus will help you to create more harmony in your life, Aries. It sure will. Venus is ruling your second house of well-being, self-worth, values, how you value yourself and what's important to you, finance. And that square there is, it can mean arguments in relationships, but it can also mean it may be asking you, these squares are always asking us for an adjustment. They're a little bit of it's like a slight challenge sort of, but this could be asking you to, kind of remain peaceful, maybe with family members here, or be careful for arguments in the home, right? And, maybe there's somebody who, easily, presses your buttons, right? So, just watch out for that is all. Okay. And Mercury, the planet of thinking, Mercury, the planet of thinking, is conjoined with Jupiter on the 15th. I talked about that briefly in the intro. That's why it's always important to watch the intro, though. Yeah, and so here we have Mercury and Jupiter both at 10 degrees. These are completions, and it's in the sign of the heart. This is romantic and self-expressive Leo. So it's asking us kind of to think about something here with that conjunction. And conjunctions are so powerful. So this can bring, uh, you know, um, this can be also where you're making decisions about love here, decisions maybe about a vacation, but learning something. These are wise decisions with Jupiter here because what did I say vacations? Because Leo rules vacations. This is having fun. You could be learning something new that is, really related to your talents or related to your self-expression. And, with the sun in Leo, this is asking you to have courage here. and to possibly study, right? You could teach, maybe you want to teach here. Um, but this can be, also with Jupiter and Mercury conjunct, this can be, the focus that you are learning about your higher self. Yeah, highly interesting there because Jupiter rules the higher self. Yeah, it rules God and religion, and purpose, expansion and growth, right? And wisdom. So this is the higher self. So highly fascinating how that is. Yeah, it is. So that's going to be a great conjunction. And remember, Jupiter is the great benefic, and Jupiter is ruling Sagittarius, and Pisces. So let's see what houses Jupiter rules for you. Jupiter rules your 12th house of endings. So this has to do with you letting something go. It may have to do with, with this conjunction here, with you, your own kind of, being true to yourself possibly and letting something go. This is, in Pisces, definitely trusting your intuition, right? That's what Pisces wants, right? And Pisces wants to merge. So there could be something about love here, right, that you are seeing, but definitely because Leo rules love. Now, Jupiter also rules your ninth house of growth and expansion. So, that is telling you here there could be a major growth spurt for you in the month of August, right? The South Node is also there, right? And when these are all together, these are not conjoined, but they're still in Leo. And the South Node in Leo is like move away. It can't be move away from relationships or people where you can't be yourself. It can also be, to understand your own kind of role sort of in your relationships. But really what it is let go of things that kind of limit your own self-expression, your own authenticity, even your talents, right? That could be the case. Yeah, it definitely could be. And it could be, move away from people who are kind of, they're just really not good for you or they're limiting you. That's really what that is about. All right. And Mercury here, let's see where Mercury, the planet of thinking, rules your third house of thinking. So this is going to be really, you may be making decisions too right? Or at the very least, analyzing, right? Yeah. And Mercury is also ruling Virgo, your sixth house of daily habits, work, and health and wellness. This is your house of problem solving. You may definitely solve some type of a problem in August, right? At least around the time of the conjunction for sure. All right. This will be conjunct for, it's going to be for like a couple of good weeks there. Yeah, it is. All right. So let me see. Yeah, well, Mercury moves a little fast, maybe 10 days or so. Yeah, these are still loose conjunctions, but Mercury, it's been in a conjunction before the 15th. Yeah, so see, we have it at 7 and 9, and so that's there for a little while there. Maybe, maybe a week or so. All right, but still, that's pretty good. All right, so now we have Mercury, and it is sextiling Uranus. All right, now Mercury and Uranus here. Where is Mercury here? I beg your pardon. It is sextiling Uranus on, what day is that here? Um, oh, I don't really have that noted here, but it does make a conjunction here. Um, I mean a sextile. So let's move forward here. Yeah, as Mercury moves forward. All right, so that's at 5 degrees. And so we have on the 26th here, we have a pretty, we have a square actually. Wow. So the square is there is a sextile there. There is, and that is earlier in the month. But let's talk about the square because we already talked about the planet of the power of Mercury. So toward the end of the month, Mercury will be with the sun, in a conjunction with the sun. This is major clarity and to analyze your daily life as it is, or your health and your wellness, your work, whatever makes your life work here with Uranus. It's asking you to adjust something, either the way you think or make a decision. Maybe you need to set a new goal or something like that, but change is being encouraged there. It sure is. All right. Yeah, and that sextile does offer. I just didn't notice the date on that sextile, but it is way back here because that's when Mercury is far, far here. And here it is right here. So let's do that. And sextile, we have a 6 degree orb with a sextile. And for some reason, it doesn't want to show up there. But it's in sextile because this is at 5 degrees and Mercury is here at 0 degrees. So at the beginning of each, yeah, this is a 60 degree. Um, Sextile is a 60 degree configuration. We have a 6 degree orb with a sextile. So it is sextiling. Why it doesn't want to show it? Here it is right here. So we see Uranus making the sextile to both Jupiter and Mercury. And this is encouraging that change earlier. This is giving you an opportunity to change something about your goals, your plans, or the way you think. I mean, it may have to do with communicating with loved ones, and you have a different, not loved ones, but more romantic, or children, because it's in Leo, or parents. But there's some type of opportunity that you're given right there, all right? And so you could also be having truthful conversations, yes, because Mercury is also opposing Pluto. And here it is. We have the Mercury opposition to Pluto right here. And this is and this is these are honest conversations, Aries, and this is in your 11th house of friends and social groups, right? So yeah, so there could be having some honest conversations because Pluto really wants the truth. It does, all right? And yes, and so, as I said, I'm going to have those separate videos on the eclipses. And so, thank you so much, Aries, for joining me here. If you've enjoyed my content, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell, and I'll be back with another one. If you want a reading with me, check out the description box below. Yeah, my readings are rich and empowering, healing, and fascinating. Yeah, they are. My son said, he goes, wow, he wasn't even getting his chart read. He goes, wow, astrology is fascinating, huh? And I go, yeah, exactly. So let's move now to, yeah, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that little bell. You'll be notified of my next upload. I think I said that. Let's move to Taurus now. And we have you on the ascendant, Taurus. Yes, we do. And let me just turn this light on so you can see better in here. All right. Okay. So thank you for that. And yeah, the sun is in your fourth house, Taurus, until the 23rd, until it moves into Virgo, right? So the fourth house is your house of home and family. This is your house of emotional needs. It's like your house of support, what makes you feel safe. And this is your lineage and your past as well, right? So interesting, we have the past node in that sign, not the past node, the south node, which is about the past and your lineage. So there could be, a lot, at least while the sun is in Leo here. Um, yeah, interesting. About the past. Maybe you're thinking about your ancestors. It's a possibility, especially with thinking Mercury here in that fourth house. All right. But yeah, and we also have Chiron here. We have Chiron is retrograde now on the third. We'll go back to the third. And Chiron is right here at 0 degrees. Yeah, and it is retrograde for 5 months. I have a whole video on that if you want to see that. And so, for your sign, of course, for all the signs, but it's retrograde. It's giving you 5 months until December the 12th to kind of, understand something deep about yourself and overcome it. That's really because Chiron rules reflection and wounds. And if you saw the video, you'll know that Chiron is the wound that we carry to sabotage ourselves. Yeah, we don't want to do that, right? We don't want, yeah, we definitely don't want to do that. So that can be really good for you. It can, that time. Um, yeah, and so, and also we have a sextile with the North Node. So let's look at that. Where is the North Node? It is in Aquarius, and Chiron is sextiling the North Node. Look at that. How beautiful. In future-oriented Aquarius, this is an opportunity for you, Taurus, to really kind of overcome something so you can move toward your higher potential or move into your higher potential. this is destiny, right? Destiny is always what we are willing to do to get to our true potential. Yeah, it's not, wow, the fate is, what happens to us, right? Yeah, if we win the lottery, that's fate. But destiny is what we can do about what has happened to us in our lives, what we were fated, what was fated to happen. Yeah, fate can be tough sometimes, right? But that's a beautiful sextile, for sure it is. It's going to be there a long time, allowing you to overcome something or heal something. Now, this is in Saturn. It's, Saturn rules Aquarius. So Saturn uh, rules your 10th house of career. So you could really, over the next 5 months, or even, doesn't have to take that long, right? I have a Taurus moon. Sometimes it takes a little longer with Taurus. It's a slower moving sign. That's okay because we get there. So Taurus reminds me of, the tortoise and the hare, right? Who won? The tortoise won. Yeah, and he was, yeah, exactly right. So, we have Chiron there making that sextile, but lots of time to, you could really kind of move toward, your higher self. You sure could. And so it's because Saturn is ruling this North Node and it's ruling your 10th house of career. This is your house of public image, but it's your house of like showing the people like who you are in this life, right? People notice when you change or when you grow, they sure do. They may not always like it, right? Oh, tough toenails, right? But they're never going to tell you that. But the point about it is that um, this is the house of authority and ambition. It's your personal authority over your own life, your agency, how you take control of your life, right? How you create long-term goals, and so things like that. It's status as well. So, but Saturn also rules your ninth house of growth and expansion. So, I would likely bet on it that you're going to be growing a lot, especially in the next 5 months. All right. Yeah, wow. All right. And Saturn right now is in your 12th house of ending. So this means in order for you to, really enjoy this sextile and this growth and expansion and moving toward your life mission, yeah, your soul path, that's what really the North Node is. This is what your soul wants for you, right? And when we deviate from that, we end up screwed up. We might make money, and all these things, but we still suffer in the end, or that money won't last, or you have to be true to yourself. And that's what this is, right? And so, but Saturn is in the 12th house of ending, so you're gonna have to let something go, right? Of course. As we grow, we always let things go, right? That's why they rhyme, right? Just teasing, right? All right. So let's see what else. Yeah. Yeah, and this can also, you may be letting go of habits that kind of that are self-undoing. That's what that house is, right? Or sabotaging, even this is even the 12th house of sabotage. It also rules the 12th house of spirituality, where we have Aries there. Okay. Um, yeah, and so now we have Venus, and natal Venus is enters Libra on the 6th. Where is natal Venus? Here, let's move the wheel and we can see her better. And here she is in Libra. All right, this is in your 6th house of work, health and wellness. So, and this is your house of problem solving. So we already saw that sextile there, Taurus, right? But Venus is your money too. Venus is your money, your relationships, your own self-worth, what you value, your well-being. That's what Venus is. So it wants peace and harmony as well. How can you have well-being without it, right? So, but Venus is here. And so it's moving, it's in this house of refining your life, and it's in its own sign. And this is your ruler. So this definitely, while Venus is in Libra for, I don't know, about a month or so, you're really going to be, refining and improving your life big time. All right. You could make more money. You could find more ways to make money. You definitely could. Yeah, it's a really great thing there. All right. So, and now we have, and interesting here, um, the moon will trine Venus on the same day. Where is the moon here? And here's the trine, right? The blue, faint blue line. Yeah, I wish it was a little darker, but that's okay. Um, and it's a little bit of a loose trine here. It's starting to move away because Venus, the moon moves so very quickly, right? It changes signs. every 2.5 days. So the moon there, with this trine to Venus, this is in your sign. This is saying, go ahead and meet your emotional needs at the same time. Dream about what you dream about, these things that you want, abundance. Venus rules abundance. Dream about it and go for it. Yeah, this is Venus is the second benefic under Jupiter. So yeah, very cool there. This can be about your work, and because we have the South Node, I mean the North Node, from Chiron. This North Node is in your house of career, so could really be kind of upping your career, right? Venus also sextiles Mercury and Jupiter. Let's look at that. Yeah, and so this is, let's go back to Venus here, and Mercury and Jupiter, and that is, when is that here? Um, what do I have here? I have Mercury is sextiling Jupiter on the 15th. Let's move the wheel. And here we have Mercury and Jupiter together, and this is in your fourth house of home and family. This is your house of emotional needs, and the moon is here. That is your, right? Um, okay, the moon is not doing the sextiling. It's a little bit too loose, but Venus is. And so we have that right here. This is helping you to organize your life and beautify your life. It sure is. And yeah, and on that same day is the eclipse, the new moon. On the same day, what? No, we have the on the 12th. This is a little bit earlier here. We can still see the sextile, yeah. And here is the new moon in Leo, and that will be the eclipse. And they're next to each other, and they are here with Mercury and Jupiter. So something about this could, you could be planting seeds that have to do with meeting your emotional needs, growth and expansion, maybe learning or studying or teaching something. Mercury is learning, as so is Jupiter. So Jupiter is more the teacher. Mercury can be teachers too, but this is philosophy and higher purpose. And Mercury is, it has to do with, your goals and your skills, right? Sort of, yeah. And that's how that's the difference here with them, right? Um, yeah. And so there could be something here about family and siblings. Mercury rules siblings. Jupiter rules the grandfather. So yeah, so we have something here. But this is beautiful. And when we have the new moon in Leo, I'll do a separate video on that. But this is showing you something about your self-expression, and your your truth to yourself, how you want to be true to yourself. That's why you're planting new seeds when you have that new moon in Leo. I'll do a whole video on that, and especially, be covering your sign as well, right? That's a beautiful thing. So, and that time too, a relationship can bloom right here around the time of this rules love, right? And so does the sun. But when we have this sextile here, yeah, definitely a relationship can bloom. One that really works well for your life could be, because this is the house of your lifestyle, right? Problem solving and things like that. Maybe you're going to solve some type of problem with, and it could be an opportunity. Sextiles don't usually represent problems, but this is problem solving here. You may have ideas here too. This is creative ideas. Venus rules creativity as well. Ideas to make more money. I mean, this is such a beautiful sextile here. It really is. Yeah, you could, with the new moon here, you may end up in a new relationship as well. You could, if you're not, with one. And one can always deepen because Venus is supporting Libra, right? Venus is supporting its own sign there. Yeah. All right. And so you could also, you might be planting seeds about something that is very meaningful to you as well, Taurus. You could be doing that, right? Could be a great time to plan a vacation. Leo is vacation month. It is. I mean, yeah, when we talk about astrology, which month it's really the 3 months, but or any time of the year. But Leo rules fun, so that's why, right? And children and parents and it does. All right. And warm weather, right? At least here in the Western Hemisphere. And so now Mercury will move into the planet of thinking. Mercury, the planet of thinking, will be in Leo until it enters Virgo on the 25th. So let's move the chart to, or the wheel rather, to the 25th. And here it is. So Mercury is now in Virgo. So Mercury will be in its own sign. We call this the final depositor. It sounds like Star Trek, sort of, right? The final, what are they? The final frontier, is that what they say? Interesting that I used to be on when I was a kid, and I just didn't like it, right? I was like, what? Is this, you know what I mean? But there's Trekkies out there. There are. I don't really like science fiction either, but I love spirituality, right? So yeah, they're not the same either. So, here we have, they can overlap. Yeah, they can. Maybe with that movie Dune, maybe, if you've seen the movie. I haven't seen it, but they say it's kind of about that. Now, when we have Mercury moving into its own signs, very powerful, especially as it enters. So we have it conjoined with the sun. It's also in a conjunction with the South Node. You could be leaving behind the maybe arguments or something like that, or your communication completely improves with family members because the South Node sits in Leo. South Node is what we want to move away from or what limits us, right? You may have ideas here, and you're refining those ideas that you have kind of maybe perfected here, kind of, because um, yeah, the full moon is coming. We are moving toward, this is the gibbous moon when we move toward the full moon, and it is a time of refining and patience and continuing to work on whatever you are working on or, kind of doing, or that seeds that you planted at the time of the new moon. And in this case, in this month, it would be the new moon in Leo. So, yeah, and so this is going to be great. A time to refine, a time to improve, a time to analyze and understand things. And this is in your fifth house of your own creative self-expression, your talents, being true to yourself. And that's also the house of fun, right? It can be a month you might enjoy romantic conversations or meaningful ones like I said, with family, partake in hobbies, expand the relationship, and overall enjoy yourself. All right, Taurus, yeah. And Mercury is ruling your second house of well-being and self-worth. So let's look at that. Mercury rules Gemini here. So whatever's going on here, when Mercury enters its own Mercury-ruled sign, and Mercury rules your second house of well-being, this is your house of money as well. There's kind of go with whatever ideas you have here, Taurus. Definitely, all right, because Mercury rules ideas. This is your house of self-worth, values, and stability as well. All right. So yeah, and so. And so, yeah, and so you might be having a lot of fun as well with the sun in your fifth house because the fifth house is the house of fun. So go enjoy yourself. Thank you so much for for watching, joining me here today. If you liked my video, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell, and I'll be back with another video. If you want a reading with me, they're very deep. Yes, I go the whole, everything is in there. It's highly fascinating. It is. I don't just talk about your talents and your, maybe what might happen. No, no, no. I talk about everything, your soul expression, your soul path, the gifts you were given, and the lessons that you are supposed to learn here. No, they don't. They don't have to mean lessons where, you're getting your butt kicked. Not necessarily, right? And there's so much to see in there. Your lineage, if you want to explore your lineage, you can definitely do it through me and your chart. So thank you, Taurus, and make a comment. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to move to Gemini now. And Gemini, the sun is in Leo in your third house. Uh, the sun is actually, it's in Leo at the beginning of the month. Yeah, let's move back and. All right, so here is the sun in Leo. Here I have the wheel on the third, and here you are on the ascendant if you would like to see the chart. Okay, so this is for Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. They all are for, each of those signs. And so we have the sun in that third house. And so you could be thinking really about your goals here, Gemini, or how you want to express your ideas, possibly. This is the sign of expression, and this is the house of goals, plans, ideas, thinking, communication, decisions, and choices. It's also about siblings. So, But here we have it's in Leo. Leo is is the heart. It's the sun. It wants you to shine. It also rules romance and love. So maybe you're going to be enjoying yourself as well. You could take short trips with lovers. This rules short distance travel, and the immediate community, right? Neighbors, or what you're doing all the time, on a regular basis, the familiar. So what you know to be, and the South Node is here. So it's likely that, with the sun here in the month of, at least for the first 3 weeks of the month, you're going to be kind of letting things go or moving away from the familiar. Yeah, interesting because this rules the familiar and the South Node rules the familiar, but the familiar past, things we know so well that we don't need to spend more time on it, right? No, we need to learn more things and grow. So you will be moving away from that because Jupiter is here and Jupiter is helping you shine. Jupiter is inspiring you, it's helping you with inspirational ideas and plans and goals that are meaningful. You might want to learn something that is very meaningful or something that is concerned or related to your purpose. Yeah, you could be really, maybe as well. Um, you could be, um, just kind of just growing and expanding leaps and bounds. At least your ideas and what you want to create for yourself. Leo rules creation. Yeah, creating, right? It rules talents. So yeah, so now we have Chiron, and that is going retrograde until the 12th, right? And where is little Chiron here, right? Yeah. Chiron almost looks like it has a wound because it kind of looks like this is the circle and here's the K, kind of like pinching it, sort of. Yeah, it does. And some people say it's the key, right? It looks like a key. Yeah, it does. But this is supposed to represent the key to healing or the key to overcoming, right? Because, yeah. So because overcoming has to do with the psychological, right? And so we have Chiron in your 12th house, Gemini, of letting go, dissolving, endings and release. So this is your house of spiritual growth and intuition. So that is the higher expression, but it's the house of self-undoing. So whatever you've been doing here, Chiron's going retrograde for 5 months. You may be in reflection, and just kind of purging things out of your life. It's making a sextile to the north node of higher potential and destiny. This is your true potential here. So there's an opportunity there for you to do that, to let go of things and grow, because this is the north node, and expand because the north node is in your ninth house of growth and expansion. It's also being ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is ruling your eighth house of transformation. So, wow, big change for you, most likely over the next 5 months. Okay. Yeah, and Chiron is in Taurus. Taurus is our values, it's our self-worth. So this is probably likely something psychological, right? I mean, it also rules the vocal cords. Taurus rules the voice. So yeah, and the neck, right? Yeah. So let's see what else I have here. Yeah, that 12th house, you could be can encourage you to meditate, pray, and to, get into spiritual practices, therapy and journaling, all these things that kind of help us, right? There's also an uncertainty or cloudiness to the 12th house. So maybe that's what you're trying to move away from, like uncertainty about certain things. Gemini can be like this. I want that, right? I know because I'm a Gemini rising. So it's a duality, right? And we can be a little scattered because we're an air sign. It's an air sign, it's mutable. So it's faster energy. So it can always be a little scattered. It's always thinking of different things. So the Gemini mind is kind of like you're looking at something online, and then you just click away and you're looking at something new. That's very Gemini, right? Yeah. All right. So yeah, and this can help you on your journey to self-worth, if that's, higher self-worth. It definitely can. And trust yourself, all right? Definitely do that. Trust your intuition because Chiron's in the 12th house, all right? It's the time you may be able to let old wounds go. This is also a house of wounds, the past wounds, because it has to do with self-undoing, addictions, hospitals, and right, yeah, all that's this house, right? This is the house of the lowest and the highest. And why do I say that? Because it's the house of transcendence, which is the highest form of spiritual growth. So, and this is Pisces house. So, yeah, that's why Pisces are healers, because yeah, it represents wounds or hospitals, and can represent illness, and but it represents also the highest, and also mental health. But transcendence is the highest form of mental health. It really is. So they don't mix them, because they don't acknowledge, they don't honor the mind body connection, which is so important, right? And who is they? The system, right? Yeah. All right. So, and you might move away from anyone you feel who doesn't appreciate you. Yeah, because Chiron's in that, Chiron means healing in, not healing, but self-worth in Taurus. Yeah, you might move away from people. Hey, I can tell they don't really appreciate me. So, hey, that's fine. I can let you go, right? Yeah, and the healing can help you let go of fears that can be keeping you from fully trusting your life path, because that's what this is. This is your life mission, your soul mission, or your life path. All right. Yeah, and so Venus is entering Libra on the 7th, and we'll put the wheel there. And let's look at Venus. Here she is, little sweetie pie, right? She is, right? She's just simple, and she has a cross on her, right? And so this is interesting, because when I was a kid, and I'm much older now, I'm in my 60s, when my mother would take me to the doctor, and would always say the sex or the gender on your chart, and it would always have the Venus sign. It didn't say male or female, it had the Venus sign. So yeah, so they were more connected in those days. They were, you guys. Yeah, they were. All right. So Venus enters Libra on the 7th, moving into its own sign, which making it very powerful, especially it'll be at 1 degree. When it enters, it will be at 0 degree here. Yeah, and so that will be in your fifth house. Now, your fifth house is love, and so is Venus. All right. But this can be where you are able to make more money, because Venus rules money, more money with your creative endeavors, or by being yourself, like really trusting your own ideas, your own creativity. This is the house of creative pursuits, self-expression, being authentic, love and sex, and children, and having fun and enjoying yourself. So Gemini, you maybe you're really going to enjoy yourself romantically in the month of August. Wow, woo woo, right? As well. And, as I said, you could be really trusting your own creative pursuits. You may be doing that, right? Because Venus, too, Venus rules your 12th house of endings. So you see, and it's making an inconjunct right here to Chiron. And the inconjunct is, it can have to do with kind of, make an adjustment. It can talk about a misunderstanding, like you're not really getting it, right? And so it asks you to do something, right? And so it's asking you once again to let go. Now Venus is doing it, not just Chiron, right? And as I was saying earlier, right, with the sextile I was discussing earlier. But yeah, and so that's your house of fun and entertainment over here. As I said, August should be a month of enjoyment, and Venus and Libra can help you to experience more harmony in your life, create more beauty in the home or wherever, and earn more money, as mentioned. Also, more courage to fully, this is a house of courage, and Venus is a benefic. And so to step into your true talents, yeah, to step into who you really are. Venus is ruling your 12th, as I said, so Venus rules your 12th here, so there can be a healing going on that can really help you do that. And we talked about that with Chiron. We did. That is the house of healing as well, the 12th house, because it's a house of hospitals as well. It's healing, healers. Pisces in the natural zodiac are healers. Um, but yeah, you can definitely heal a wound. And Chiron's there to show you whatever wound that is, Taurus, right? Yeah, very interesting there. All right. So, um, yeah, and so let's see what else we have here for you. And Gemini, in case I said Taurus, I didn't say Taurus. Yeah, but Venus is ruling the 12th house, and this is for Gemini, so don't want to get, yeah. Natal Gemini enters Leo on the 10th, so let's move the wheel there. Hope I didn't say Taurus too much over there for a quick second. Yeah, I get so wrapped up here that sometimes we do, right? So Gemini, because there's a lot here, right? There is. Now we have Mercury entering Leo, and here it is. So, Gemini, this is your third house. The third house, you rule the third house in the zodiac. So, this is important to you, right? And so your own sign moves into your third house, equally, another equally powerful thing going on. It's in Leo. So the sun rules your third house of ideas. That's very good to begin with. This means, and Mercury does rule the mind. And this is like creative. Basically, it's saying that, it's kind of inherent in you to have creative ideas, to shine with your ideas, to shine with your communication. That's why Gemini can be podcasters. Yeah. And they talk with their hands like I'm doing right now. It looks like I'm doing translating or almost sign language because I'm using my hand so much, right? Um, Yeah, and Jupiter will be there with Mercury. It moves into a conjunction, but that third house, you could really flourish with your ideas in the month. Trust your creativity this month, all right? Definitely here, Gemini. And this can also encourage, it could be a time for passionate discussions, maybe with siblings or honest conversations. Also, yeah, also to enjoy siblings. And Mercury makes that conjunction on the 15th with Jupiter, expansive Jupiter and inspirational Jupiter, right? And these are both about your intelligence and learning, maybe teaching. This is your higher purpose here, wisdom. Mercury is analyzing and understanding, and those plans and goals that I talked about, right? This is the thinking sign. So, when they get together there, you could really, your creative writing can flourish. It can really take off. Meaningful ideas, goals that inspire and expansion, creative ideas. You could have aha moments here. You could, right? Yeah, you could. Um, yeah, and there could be more wisdom and understanding between siblings. So maybe that brother or sister who acted like acted very poorly, right? Maybe there's gonna be more understanding of that person, right? Interesting, because yeah, you realize that everybody who either wrongs you, they're either unhappy or they're seriously, experiencing some type of wounding or they haven't, overcome it, right? Everybody who's ever wronged me, I take a moment and I go, oh yeah, they're not happy with their own lives, right? So no, right? No brainer, right? Go figure, right? So there we go. All right. So Jupiter will inspire you, Gemini, to study. You may want to do that on your own or subjects and things you're passionate about for sure, including your talents. Natal Mercury enters Virgo on the 25th. And let's go to the 25th here. Why not? And so on the 12th, though, I do want to let me just show you guys because people like to see the stuff. I mean, I think the people who are watching anyway, we have the new moon in Leo, and that's going to be in your third house of creative ideas. So better go for it, Gemini, right? While the going's good, right? Yeah, why the little fairy is there for you, right? And so, but this is there for Leo as well. Yeah, it is. It's there for everybody. But since this is Mercury, your own sign is here, and it's your third house you rule the third house, right? Yeah, go for it. So, but that new moon will inspire creative ideas. I'll have a whole separate, creative ideas for you, and for everybody else. I'll have their horoscope as well, and or that can be a very hopeful time, planting new seeds for the future. All right, and then. We also have the full moon lunar eclipse, and full moon eclipses can really be life-changing. That's on the 28th. It's in Pisces. It's an intuitive Pisces. Yes, and dream-oriented Pisces. Wow. All right. So let's see what else we have here. And yeah, it's entering. I said that Mercury enters Jupiter not Jupiter, Mercury enters Virgo and here it is, it's at 0 degrees on the 25th of the month. So this is your Mercury entering Mercury ruled Virgo because you share it. So your fourth house, interesting here, your fourth house of emotional needs. This is really showing you, Gemini, that you of all people should really be understanding your own emotional needs, all right? But it depends on the rest of the chart, right? It definitely does. Because, I'm a Gemini rising, and I have to say it, I always knew, but yeah, there's a kite here too, right? Look at that. And we have the kite as we move around. Yeah, the kite is two sextiles, an opposition, and these trines. So the opposition is the only thing that is saying what needs to merge and what needs to be balanced, right? So yeah, this is the kite is indicating you can fly. You can really step into your own power. The apex is at Mercury. Wow. And the north node, the south node here. So this is encouraging you to let go of things. When Mercury moves into the fourth house, to let go of things over here in your third house. It could be maybe an old wound with a sibling. It could be anything, really. It could, because it just could, right? Yeah. And it could be family, something about family wounds here, or the past. This is just the past here. I mean, not just, but this south node is the past, or what limits you, what you need to move away from. Wounds could be past lives, could be family wounds, but it can be something you're just so familiar with that you're limiting yourself. That's simple, and it doesn't always have to be serious wounds. But if we don't want to limit ourselves, right? And Mercury is the brains here, the cerebral. So you're understanding toward the end of the month what really needs to go. So you can be up here, right? And this kite is helping you go. And the kite showing up in other signs as well. I believe it is, but it's just very noticeable here on the Gemini, on your placement here when I have you on the ascendant. Yeah. Very awesome, that is. It is. All right, so let's see what else I have for you, Gemini. Um, yeah, and once Mercury moves into Virgo, it's going to help you refine your life, possibly your family life, but it's going to help you refine your life, make improvements that help support your emotional well-being or your emotional needs, all right? And Mars, the planet of courage and desire, enters Cancer on the 11th. Where is good old Mars here? Marsy. Where is Mars? Sorry, you guys. It's in actually here. It is, yeah, it enters Cancer on the 11th. I have the wheel on the 25th. But when it does, and that is courage and desire. Why do I have this moving around like this? Because I wanted to talk a lot about Mercury, and Mercury is making a lot of changes, like, date-wise, kind of day by day during the month. So back on the 11th, here we have the day before the new moon in Leo, we have Mars entering Cancer. So this is going to be in your second house of well-being. So you are likely to be taking care of your own needs. Yeah, your own needs, for your own well-being. You could also be kind of maybe, standing up for your values here. That could be happening with Mars there. Be careful you could be very protective of loved ones as well. Be careful for arguments with family because it's in Cancer, all right? So thank you so much for joining me here today, Gemini. If you enjoyed my video, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell. I'll be back with another video. Yeah, if you want a reading with me, definitely check out the description box below. Awesome readings, very deep. Yes, and also make a comment. Yeah, I really love that. If you guys, that really does support my channel when you comment. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one. So let's go now to Cancer. Speaking of Cancer, and we will move the wheel back here. And so Cancer, here you are on the ascendant if you are looking here at the wheel. And so here we go. The sun is in Leo, and Leo is your second house of well-being. So, that's really a good thing. I think it is. And so that's going to be helping you, your well-being, your values, your self-worth as well. And Jupiter is there to support you because Jupiter expands. And Leo is shining a light, right? Leo is fun. Leo is romantic. Leo is be who you are truthfully. So this is shine. Just don't hold back. Have courage to be who you are. Show the world who you are, your talents. And when Jupiter is there, it's kind of supporting you. It's expanding that. It's asking you to act with higher purpose and wisdom. right? It's, it's supporting your growth here. And the South Node is there as well. So, yeah, so you're going to be kind of letting things go here. Uh, yeah, you are, or, moving away from, hopefully, that's why this South Node is there to ask you to move away from things that are really no good for you, right? And it's actually making a sextile um, to Mars rules your fifth house of self-expression right here and being true to yourself. It's making a sextile with Mars, the planet of courage and, and desire here. Mars will do that, right? Will let go of things that no longer serve you. So that's very good for you, Cancer. It is. And Jupiter is in this, the fun sign. Maybe you're on vacation in August, but that could be for your well-being. But it's really saying have fun. This is supporting your well-being, right? Everybody needs to have fun, right? Yeah, for sure, right? No, I mean you can't have too much fun. What do they say about too much fun? It can, kind of wreck your life, right? If it's too much, right? But all work and no play makes, I don't know, Tom, a dull boy, right? So for sure. So here we have Jupiter, and Jupiter is there, and it's in a conjunction with the Sun. It makes a perfect conjunction at the near the end of the month. It sure does. Um, yeah, but we have that conjunction. Yeah, we also have Mercury is going to move into a conjunction too, but right now it's in your first house. Mercury in your first house of self. You're really thinking about what motivates you right now. You could be thinking of your life just as a whole, maybe your daily routines and things like that. Mercury rules the sixth house of daily routines. Um, and yours is in Sagittarius, interesting. But Mercury here, this can it can really help you, just think about what is good for you, right? So we have Jupiter in that second house though. Um, and getting back to Jupiter, I don't want to forget Jupiter. Jupiter rules your sixth house of daily routines, health and wellness and work. This is obstacles and problem solving, right? So, that's what this month will be helping you do, solve some type of problems that you have with, or not, maybe problems, but just refine and improve your daily lifestyle. Jupiter is ruling also Pisces, your ninth house of growth and expansion. A lot of growth for you in the month of August, all right? Yeah, and let's see what else I have here. And Mercury, the planet of thinking, is conjoined with Jupiter on the 15th. So let's move the wheel to the 15th. And then, yeah, let's move the house to the 15th. And and then we're going to move the wheel back because I don't want to I want to stay on Mercury for just a moment, right? So Mercury is conjoined with Jupiter. We see it right here. It's at a perfect conjunction. It's conjoined maybe a week before and a few days before and then after, right, as well. But on the 15th, you may have some really creative ideas for your own well-being or to make money. That second house is a money house. It's about material comfort. So, and values and money. So, watch out on the 15th. You might have some great ideas. You really could about earning more money. All right. And yeah, and so, and Mars, yeah, let's talk a little bit though about Venus though. I wanted to talk about Venus here for you. Venus enters Libra on the 6th, and we have the wheel here on the 6th, right? Venus is moving into your fourth house of home and family. This is your house of emotional needs, Cancer, this is your house in the zodiac. So you rule that, right? Home and family and nurturing and protecting and emotional needs and safety. That's what Cancer is concerned with, right? So, we have Venus moving there. Venus is a move entering. Venus is a benefic. It wants to protect you and help you. It does. So, Venus is moving into its own sign, very powerful. And on the 6th, it will be, at 0 degrees. It will be super powerful on the 6th and first cut, but it's there and it is supporting you. And Venus is your well-being. So in the fourth house, it's a good Venus and Libra is really good for you in the month of in the month of August, right? It'll be there for at least 3 weeks because it has a fast or a short transit, I should say. Yeah, so so it's going to be there supporting you. Venus also rules your 11th house of the future. So, everything is really looking good for you here. It's actually trining the moon, your moon, right? Yeah, your moon. You can see the trine, it's light blue. And here's your moon right here. As it moves toward the new moon in Leo, right, which will be on the 12th. But this trine here is helping you move forward with more well-being, more self-worth, more emotional stability. Like your needs are being met, you feel balanced, and Libra wants to bring balance. This can help you earn more money here as well. There's something a little bit emotional going on, but that emotionality is really about making it easier for you to move forward in your future because your needs are being met. This is a great trine right here. It is. You can make more money. The moon is also in a money sign. It's in Taurus. So this is really good for you. This can help support that and make it easier for you to move toward more money, more well-being, but also and your personal priorities. All right. We talked a little bit about that. Your personal priorities are also always important in life. Yes, they are, because if we don't have personal priorities, we have Jupiter in your house of personal priorities, and it rules your house of personal priorities, your daily priorities. So this is supporting all of that. It's also supporting your relationships. Um, yes, it is as you move forward. All right. So yeah, we also have Mars here. And Mars is when is Mars? It enters Cancer on the 11th. And so, yeah, we're kind of flapping or moving around here because of these. Um, why is it doing this? Here it is. Okay, let's move to the 11th, where Mars enters your sign. All right, so here's Mars at 0 degrees, and this is, I think I talked about that earlier. Yeah, I did. Um, did I talk about that earlier? I feel like I did. But yeah, Mars is, yes, it is. I did talk about that because I'm moving the wheel around. So let's move on from that. But yeah, I believe I talked about how it makes this trine to, maybe I did, no, I don't think I did, but it does make a trine to the North Node. This is your higher potential. This is your destiny. This is what you want for your life. It's your life, it's your compass, all right? You're always going there. Life is leading you there, right? We want to move away from this other thing here. And Mars makes a sextile to the South Node, letting you move away from things that don't support your well-being and move toward this, which is your higher self, right? Yeah, it is. And your true potential. And it's in Saturn, it's in Aquarius. And so this is Saturn. But this is in your eighth house of transformation. There's a lot of major transformation for you going on. Saturn's ruling your seventh house of relationships. It's like you're moving into your relationships, or you're not seeing your relationships the way you used to. No, you see them with more personal power. Yeah, I believe you do, Cancer. Right. And then we have Mars. Let's move this. Let's go back here. Not Mars, but Mercury will move forward to um, into Virgo later on in the month on the 25th, right? And the sun will then be in Virgo. But the sun will be in your third house. Once the sun moves into your third house, you're definitely going to be thinking about plans and goals, likely, or making choices in your life, maybe decisions, of course, as well. But we have this. The south node, where am I? We have Mercury, which is the ruler, which is the planet of thinking, moving into your third house, which is the house of thinking, being ruled by Mercury. All right. So Mercury rules Gemini, your 12th house, and it rules your third house. Now, your 12th house, the rulership here is, this is the house of self-undoing. And it's in Virgo's your habits. So it's, and refinement and improvement. So here's the square, and it's asking you to leave behind bad habits or things that are like no good for you, Cancer, all right? Especially, look, it sits right next to the South Node, which is not good for you either, really. This can be wounds or holding on to the familiar past, right? Move away from that. And the chart is supporting you doing that, all right? But this here, this is going to be a really good month to do that, to move into your higher self. And it opposes the North Node. So then this opposition is saying, look, if you want to reach your true potential, move away from this self-undoing and embrace change. Here is Uranus, the planet of change. Also, what we have, Cancer, we have, and that showed up in the full moon of Aquarius. It did, right? We have the new moon in Leo, right, on the 12th, and we'll look at that briefly here. I'll have, it's actually an eclipse, right? That's why it's worth definitely talking about. Eclipses can be life-changing, but the new moon is a solar eclipse. It's more about your self-expression, and because that's what the sun represents, and planting seeds for the future. And so this is a very hopeful time when the divine feminine gets together with the divine masculine. It's almost like, a couple that really loves each other and they say, come on, I surrender. Let's get together and work together, right? And so that could be going on, not the fighting with, somebody, but, this kind of merging. And so this can be a transitory time. It can. And, Jupiter is supporting you, supporting your house of money, your house of well-being and self-worth, and your values. Your values may be changing as well with the new moon, could be. And Jupiter's helping you expand your well-being. And so we'll have a whole, a video on that. We have the other eclipse at the end of the month on the 28th, and that is in Pisces. That is an intuitive and spiritual Pisces, all right? And healing Pisces, yes. Pisces is the most interesting sign to me and the most fascinating because as it rules self-undoing and addiction, it also rules spiritual growth and transcendence and healing. And transcendence is the highest form of spiritual growth. So that it can be saying you could go from rock bottom to, and everybody has Pisces in their chart, right? Everybody does, thankfully, right? Because we all need spiritual growth. We sure do. Um, and so, yeah, and so that will be the full moon, and the full moon eclipses are even more powerful. And why do I say that? Because they bring endings and new beginnings. And yeah, the full moon, it has to do with, our emotions too, right? And this over here has to do with our self-expression. So it's highly interesting, right? And yeah, it can bring culminations and culminations from the new moon. I don't mean the new moon in Leo that just happened, 2 weeks prior. I mean the new moon in Cancer 6 months ago. So, I'll have a whole video on that. So it'll be highly fascinating. I believe it will. So I think I'm going to end it here, Cancer. Thank you so much for joining me here. If you liked my content, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell, and I'll be back with another video. Yeah, if you want a reading with me, highly fascinating. Talk about what you've inherited, yes, and what you were given, and really what you can do with that, because, that is your destiny, right? We talk a lot about the nodes, and this is fate down here, what you were given, if it was a crummy hand, that's what the chart is trying to show you to move away from, right? And move towards your higher potential. Not everybody got a lousy deal, but the chart just shows you how to stand in your wisdom and work it and become and move toward that compass, which is your true potential. Your chart is your compass. Yeah, it's highly fascinating, right? So lots of things we talk about. So thank you so much, Cancer, for joining me. Hit the little bell so you can be notified of my next upload. Please make a comment. Yeah, it's really helpful for me. And yeah, and we're going to move now to Leo, and not the day. We want to move signs here. And here you are, Leo. So Leo, this is your month, right? It definitely is. So let's move back to, it's yours and Virgo's, but I like to say it's yours because you are, the 3 weeks of the month. Virgo's month is September. Yeah, because Virgo has 3 months in September, right? So here we are, and the sun is in your house. It's conjoined. It's a loose conjunction, but it's still conjoined with Jupiter at the beginning of the month, all right? So, this is expanding your well-being. It definitely is, all right? This is you likely feel with Jupiter there, you could feel very inspired this month. Um, and you could, and even all year, it's going to be in your sign all year, right? You could feel very motivated, inspired, wanting to maybe learn new things. But with the sun there, it's basically showing you maybe what you want to learn, but it's really showing you about your self-expression because Leo, you rule self-expression and talents, right? And your self-identity and your true self and things, your authenticity. So when we have that with Jupiter, Jupiter is growth and expansion and higher purpose. Jupiter is like the truth because it rules God and religion. So you can be understanding really what you want for your higher self or your purpose, while the sun is there with Jupiter, right? You could really be learning that or understanding that in a major way. So where are you here in terms of notes? Let's move to you, Leo. Yeah. Yeah, when the sun is in your own house of self, that's a beautiful thing. It sure is, right? That's why we're saying when it's your birthday season, it supports you, right? So the sun can be shining on you literally and symbolically for sure. And the south node of fate is also there, right? And so this is helping you see the wisdom in your life about yourself, about your own self-expression, your creative talents, and who you really are, your authentic self, your true self. It's showing you what needs to go here, what you need to move away from with the south node in your sign and the sun in your sign at the same time, all right? Especially with Jupiter there. So, this can be definitely a time to show your talents, to expand with creative pursuits, and mhm. And Jupiter rules your fifth house of creative pursuits and self-expression and being true to yourself. So we can see here, and this fifth house is your house in the zodiac, right? Like Sagittarius rules the ninth house in the zodiac, and you rule the fifth house. So Jupiter's here. So there's a big theme here on you expanding, showing yourself to the world, becoming your true self, and having the courage to do it. All right. The fifth house is courage. Yeah, we have to have courage to be our true self. And the world doesn't support that. No, it doesn't. So we have to learn to do it on ourselves, yeah, or by ourselves. Unless you had some great mom or dad or siblings or something like that, right? If you did, then that's great, right? But many people don't have or encouraging parents. That's just and interesting. This is the house of parents. Yeah, it is, right? Yeah, where you create from, right? Or self-expression and being true to yourself, your talents. So that means that we kind of need, it's kind of saying that your parents should kind of, support that by default, right? But yeah, I just kind of realized that right now, right? But yeah, and so but they don't always do it, right? Maybe they were in survival mode, right? So we got to give them the benefit of a doubt, right? I mean, um at least for the most part, yeah, I would say. So, yeah. And so you might be out really enjoying yourself, recreational activities, spending time with kids, right? You could be doing that, Leo. You may be traveling. Jupiter encourages long distance travel. It does. And Leo, you rule vacation. Yeah, you're such a fun month and a fun sign, Leo. Okay. Yeah, I get a tan from you as well, right? From the sun, right? Yeah, I get a tan in like 2 minutes, right? Yeah. People are like, oh, what? Why do you have a tan already? Um, yeah, but you might be traveling and having fun. And Jupiter rules this eighth house of transformation, right? Yeah. And this transformation, it rules, um, interesting how Jupiter rules Sagittarius is growth and expansion, and it also rules this eighth house uh, of transformation, right? Um, Yeah, very interesting for you. And your ninth house is ruled by Aries. It's ruled by Mars. So this is you really taking your creative talents by the horns. Yeah, yeah, you're supposed to do that, right? That Mars is courage, right? All right, interesting because I just had a kind of reading with the Leo too, right? Yeah, about that. Yeah, Leos are powerful, and you guys are supposed to shine by nature. Yeah, you are. So yeah, and so we have it Sagittarius or not Sag, but Jupiter ruling this eighth house of transformation. This is your house of excuse me, emotional intimacy. So, there could be something going on. Leo does rule love, right? It does. There could be something going on there too, where, in that house, it's also the house of shared wealth and understanding things at a very psychological level. And maybe you are doing that here with this North Node and the Sun, about yourself, right? Yeah, because Leo rules the self, because it rules the Sun and your self-expression, right? And so in that way, and then, yeah, you could really be learning here definitely about yourself. All right. So we also have the Sun. Chiron is in Taurus. And that Chiron, let's look at that here. Um, where's Taurus here? And so the Sun is making a square to Chiron. Chiron is the wound that we have that we all kind of all sabotage ourselves with, or that we have at one time maybe. Hopefully not, but it is in everybody's chart. So it's also the same thing, also rules healing and, overcoming that. That's what Chiron is about. That's why it rules reflection. I have a whole video on it, right? So we reflect, we meditate, we reflect, we have alone time, and we can understand ourselves at a deep level. And that is the point, right? We have to understand ourselves, know thyself, right? And so we have this square though from Jupiter and the Sun there. And so that square is asking you to, um, yeah, it's in a loose square. It's in a square, but it's in a square with, excuse me, with the Sun, with Jupiter rather. Okay, so Jupiter is wants your higher purpose over here, your growth and expansion. Squaring Chiron is asking you to let go of something or to overcome something that may be hindering you or holding you back, because Chiron is in Taurus and Taurus rules self-worth, all right, and well-being. So it could be, right? And Venus is the ruler of Chiron. Venus is ruling your 10th and also your third house of thinking. So there's something here that Jupiter is asking you to stop doing, all right, stop the way you're thinking about something, all right? Could be you need to change that, right? For sure. I'd have to see your chart though, to kind of really make that right, because this is mundane astrology where things are definitely can resonate, but your ninth, your eighth, your 10th house here, where Chiron sits, may not be ruled by Venus in your chart, right? Yeah. So, um, yeah, I mean, it can be, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. All right. It's going to depend on the time of birth. So, let's continue. All right. And then we have also, yeah, and so we also have, and Venus is ruling your third house here, right? Venus rules Chiron here in the 10th house of career. I don't want to finish, I need to finish that. The 10th house of career and the personal ambition and authority that you wield over your own life, like, your maturity and your commitment to things, your discipline, that's Chiron's here. So, Leo, it can be saying here that there's some type of wound or something you need to overcome that is hindering your career, maybe your career as your long-term achievement, right? And so that's important, right? You'll have to only you will know what that's about, because the square is an adjustment. It asks us to do something, right? We also have a sextile here to Uranus. It's saying if you embrace change from Jupiter here, if you embrace change, boom, there's an opportunity for you to embrace change and move into the future. It's in your house of the future. So there we go on that, right? We don't want to just be, down on squares here, right? Or, talking completely about squares. Venus is ruling that third house of the way you think. So that's very important. It is, all right, as I was saying. All right. And this can be related to early childhood. This is your early childhood house, the third house. Not only, about, kind of how you're thinking and things like that. This is the house of plans and goals, ideas. Yeah, let yourself be inspired here and let go of some type of wound here. This Taurus can be early childhood as well. Um, it can, and this also talks about kind of a level of abundance. So, if there's been some Taurus rules nature and it rules food and the physical. So sometimes, right, and stability and well-being and values. So sometimes, this can be like maybe if you had some idea or you were thinking in terms of lack, that can talk about that. No, don't do that, right? No. Yeah. And so Jupiter is going to help you to do that. And the sun as well, because it's already moved out of a I believe it's already moved out of that square. But the sun, it's just 1 degree past, but still, it is a loose square there, right? So your sun, your own natal sun is helping you, is what I'm saying. So we have the eclipses on the 12th of the month. We'll talk about that in just a minute. We have um, Mars. Let's see here. We have Mars enters Cancer on the 11th. That's the day before the new moon in Leo. Um, yeah, you're a new moon, Leo. So here we have, where is Mars? Mars has already entered Cancer the day before. We can see the new moon kind of coming into place here. Jupiter is standing in the way here. Jupiter could be saying, hey, because the new moon is a time of planting seeds. It's a time of transition and, new ideas and things like that, right? That may come to fruition with the full moon in Leo in 6 months, right? But that new moon, it's an eclipse. So, yeah, it's very important. Can be life-changing, where Jupiter is saying, look, growth and expansion is needed here. Or it can be saying, with these new ideas and the seeds you're planting, right, you can really expand. Isn't you grow and expand your business, expand your life, expand whatever, right? But just, it's in your house of self. So very cool. Um, yeah, and as I said, Jupiter's ruling that eighth house of transformation and your house of your self-identity and your self-expression, right? Your talent. So, but that Mars has moved into Cancer, into the 12th house, into your 12th house. This could be, saying maybe, to asking you to let go of kind of, here it is, sextiling Chiron, interesting, but asking you to kind of let go of maybe family arguments. That could be the case here. Or, kind of, it can also give you the opportunity to move away from, people who are passive aggressive, right? It can help you let go of wounds related to family wounds, because this is the house of letting go. Um, yeah, and this can also help you move away from addictions. Interesting, because Mars is pure power, right? It's pure assertion, it's pure drive. And here it is making the sextile to Chiron in your house of career, but this is in your house. This could be about the father as well. Chiron, I mean, not Chiron, but your 10th house is the father. There could be a wound here and you're leaving it behind, right? That is related to the father. It can be related to your self-worth, as I said earlier, with Chiron in Taurus, but you're leaving it behind. You have this opportunity to do that. Um, yeah, very interesting. And here's the South Node asking you to move away from something from the past as well. All right. Yeah, definitely. All right. And so, yes, we have, and you can do it by making a decision here to do that, because Venus is squaring from your house of thinking. Venus is squaring Mars. And so, this square here is asking you to make an adjustment about the way you think or about your relationship with siblings. It may be your relationships overall. Um, yeah, and this is in Venus in the third house in Libra in its own sign can give you the willpower to do that. Yeah, but there's asking you to kind of do these things, right? So we did talk a little bit about, let's just talk about also about Mercury, because Mercury is very important. And we have the new moon the next day, and I'll do the whole video for the 12 signs. Mercury is here in Leo on the 12th, and it is conjoined with Jupiter on the 15th. It makes a perfect conjunction. This is a little bit of a loose conjunction here, but when Mercury is here and Jupiter in your sign, wow, with the sun and the moon, there is something definitely new here for you. And it has to do with your growth and expansion. It has to do with a major transformation. Jupiter rules at eighth house. this new transitory thing, or wherever you're planting seeds. And it may have to do with relationships because Venus rules your third house, and Mercury, uh, sorry, not Libra so much, but Mercury is ruling your, excuse me, your 11th house of the future. So this is change for you. It is. And it may have to do with your ideas. And as I said, they can be creative ideas. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier because you're a creative sign. The sun is in its own creative sign. And so you could have a lot of ideas here, Leo, that will help you grow and expand, and maybe move towards your higher purpose, because Leo, I mean, Jupiter does rule purpose, right? It makes that perfect conjunction, but Mercury is telling you here something about growing and expanding and planting new seeds, because Mercury is ruling your 11th house of the future. So yeah, very interesting. So we have at the end of the month, we have the sun moves into Virgo, of course, right? And the sun will be in your second house of well-being, shining on that. And, and Mercury will be there as well. So that will be, at the end of the month. I'll talk about that um, a little bit later, when I do the other horoscopes. But, at the end of the month, we have this full moon in, excuse me, in Pisces. It's a full moon lunar eclipse. That is life changing. That's what that is. So that full moon there is in the sign, it's in your house of transformation. Big changes for you because it's in that house. And also, you're going to be able to understand with that full moon, you're going to be able to understand your emotional relationships, better. We'll talk about that. There's a lot to talk about with that full moon lunar eclipse, for sure. And Mercury will be there advising you in your own sign, in its own sign in Virgo, advising you about your future. Remember, Mercury rules your 11th house, all right? So thank you so much, Gemini, excuse me, Leo, for joining me here today. Yeah, and so yeah, Mercury moves into its own house here, not yours. Yeah, the second house. I think I explained that the proper way, into Virgo. But yeah, if you enjoyed my content here, Leo, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that little bell. I'll be back with another video. If you want a reading with me, please see the description box below, and I have my website right there. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. For Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. So, Virgo, for you, the sun and Jupiter are in your 12th house of endings, release, and surrender. This is also your house of spiritual growth and intuition. And the south node of fate and the past is there as well. So, since the south node is what we're moving away from, there's something that you want to move away from here, psychologically, physically, or it can be related to your heart, like something you no longer want, or something you don't feel like you're able to shine, or it no longer it's true to you, or you can't be yourself. It may be related to your authenticity because the sun is the ruler of Leo, and it's there, and those are both. The sun is about your self-expression, who you truly are. It's also about your creative pursuits, your creativity. So, it's also, the Leo always rules the heart, also rules the heart. So it can be love. This can be about children, but the biggest kind of one there is the sun is your self-expression. So, but it could be about those other things as well, right? So, yeah, and that south node over here is this is the past. This house is really surrendering to the past for spiritual growth or transcendence. And this is what we are supposed to surrender to. Surrender like to letting the past go. This is like, let me let it go. Let me move away from the past. So things that you're really familiar with. This can mean that you need some courage here, or that you have the courage, right? Yeah, because Leo rules courage, and when the South Node is there, this can really help all of us with the South Node in Leo to have courage to move toward our higher potential, or to move to where we shine, all right? And that's what the sun wants for us, all right? There is a whole, excuse me, there's a whole video on the full moon in Aquarius, and because this is endings, Aquarius is associated with the future over here. So yeah, you can go see that if you'd like, for sure. I hope you have watched the intro here because that will lead you more understandably, or you'll be able to resonate, or uh, with this much better, right? Yeah, and the Sun and Jupiter in Leo is highlighting and even exposing what is key to your growth and expansion. The Sun and Jupiter are asking you to see the wisdom in letting something go or letting it dissolve, letting it fade away. Could be and related to old wounds, self-undoing. This is the house of self-undoing. Yeah, when I first heard that expression, I was like, oh, but we all have a 12th house. We do, right? And so related to self-undoing or fears. And I was saying that, the sun is courage. So you may have courage for something you want really, because the sun is, it's about what is true to us. And the sun is, rules the heart. So what we really want, right? Yeah. And yeah, we talked about the south node. We did. And this could be limiting your growth, this south node over here, because Jupiter wants growth and expansion. It wants you to see the wisdom, experience wisdom, really. And it's like higher purpose, right? And what's meaningful to you in your life, right? And the sun in Leo, this is representing happiness and joy. So you're not happy with something, right? And those wounds you could be leaving behind, possibly they can have a lot to do with this childhood, possibly. We also have the South Node. It's in a trine with Chiron. Chiron is the wound that we carry, that we carry, and that we sabotage ourselves. Everybody has Chiron. Yours happens to be in the ninth house, in at least according to this chart. I don't have your own unique chart in front of me. But yeah, and so that, I'd have to see your chart to make specific, sort of, right? But this is according to the zodiac, the way the houses are aligned, right? Or, sequential. This is called mundane astrology, right? If you want your own reading, you can sure get one. It's highly fascinating, much more fascinating than this, and this is pretty interesting, I'd have to say. Yeah. So we have Chiron here, and Chiron's that wound, and it's getting the south node is kind of sending it a trine. That's the lunar node over here that represents lack, limits, limiting yourself, or what we want to move away from. It has to do with the past and fate, because fate is what happens to us and we can't help it, but it's always in opposition with destiny, right, over here. And that is what we do about what we've been given, right? We've seen some people come out of really difficult situations and really kind of, propel themselves way up, right? So Chiron's getting that. So that's in your ninth house of growth and expansion. It's in Taurus. Taurus has to do with self-worth, our values, our well-being. Um, it also has to do with our personal priorities as well. So there definitely could be something going on there for you. And so, but that is a healing. And so this trine is, kind of supporting you letting this go. It's to that house of letting go, right? Yeah. Venus also rules this house where Chiron is. Venus is also ruling your second house of well-being. See, this is all tying in. Your second house of self-worth, personal priorities, and things that are important to you, that your values. And so, yeah, this over here has something to do with your values, or you don't value it anymore, and your own self-expression, or your happiness, perhaps. Yeah, definitely. So I'm not sure what you're kind of leaving behind here, but we also have this square to Chiron. The square is asking you to do it. It's kind of putting a little pressure to release something and to kind of overcome something. Um, yeah, and so it could have been in childhood. This is these first few houses can be about childhood. Yeah. And also, we have, God, what was I going to say? Uh, Yeah, asking you to do that. So also the South Node is in a sextile with Mars, and Mars wants to take care of business. Mars says, "Hey, something needs to be done. I'll do it." Right? Yeah, I have courage and drive. So you have everything here to it's telling you to leave this behind, something. And you have everything here to do it. You really do, right? That's what the chart is showing. All right. So Mercury is your natal Mercury. It's entering Leo on the ninth. And, Mercury is the planet of thinking, right? Now it's entering Leo. We'll move to the ninth and we'll talk about Venus for a minute, right? We're just going to move back to Venus a couple of few days here. But Mercury is your natal ruler. And here it is. It has entered Leo. It's at 0 degrees, which is the first degree, right? Um, and so this is also entering your 12th house of endings. So you're spiritually growing and definitely endings, letting something go here. Um, yeah, often when we grow spiritually, we do let things go because we're not the same, right? We may look the same possibly, but we're really not the same deep down. Yeah. The deep mind, right? The unconscious mind, or the what else do we call it? Um, I can't think of the exact word right now, but Mercury's going to be there, and Mercury also rules your first house. So we have Mercury ruling your first house of self-motivation, and ruling and over here in your 12th house of endings and release. All right, you're surrendering to something here. And it has to do with your own self-expression and your joy and happiness because the sun is there as well. Yeah, and so Mercury is going to make a square to Chiron as well. I talked about Chiron over here. Mercury is, and here's the square. It's telling you what you can let go of. It's actually putting a little pressure on you or asking you to make an adjustment. That's what it's asking. And to let something go. And you can actually do that through spirituality. It's in the spiritual house. Yeah. And through your own reflection, here's Mercury, right? Yeah. And so this can help, meditation can help you big time because this is the house of meditation. It sure can. Being alone, alone time, reflection, things like that. All right, and then we have Mercury, yeah, and Mercury is also squaring part of fortune. Where's part of fortune at? I don't see it right now, so I don't know what. Um, Here's Mercury. Yeah, so let me fix this here. And so we have it at 9 degrees. This is not a square. What did I say? It's a sextile. Is that what I said? Well, that would be another day. Oh, into the 12th house. That will be another day. Oh, yeah. Here's part of fortune and Mercury. Oh, yeah. And so here we go. Here is the square right here because this is a 90 degree, almost a 90 degree. Yeah, so we have the square here. So what it means here, as I was kind of starting on here, it's asking you to be true to yourself and trust your intuition. Interesting there. Um, yeah, it's not showing the let me see here. Oh, as it enters as well. And okay, so part of fortune enters Leo into that 12th. So we're moving back here. We definitely are. Here's part of fortune right here. Part of fortune is where you thrive. That's what that is. All right. So, yeah. And so this part of fortune is explaining everything I said, really, to let go of something that no longer serves you, no longer makes you happy, no longer is tied to your true self, right? You look like you're changing here by releasing something. Okay. Um, yeah. And then we also have um, we have your natal Mercury will be moving into Virgo as well. And yeah, let's look at that for a minute. Mercury enters Virgo, oh, near the end of the month, right? After the sun enters your sign on the 23rd. But that, Mercury will be in its own sign in Virgo. So it's going to be very, of course, Well, actually, it doesn't have to be like that. The sun, when your birthday comes, the sun will be here in your first house or in your sign, but not necessarily Mercury, but it will be. So this is going to be, you're going to be feeling very powerful at that time with the sun in your sign, right? And Mercury, and we can show you on the wheel right here. And here it is, and they are in a conjunction. So this is very clear here that you're going to be able to see something about yourself that is very important to you. Yeah, and and we see the square to Uranus. There's asking you to change something. This happens to be your Uranus is being ruled by Mercury. Wow. And Uranus is the planet of change, Virgo. So it's asking you to change something. And this is your house of career, but it's your house of public image and your house of the authority and ambition that you have over your own life. All right, which is not the same exactly as career, is it? No, it has to do with your personal leadership basically, and how you kind of manage your own life. Yeah, very interesting there. This can be about a status, retirement, divorce, getting married, having a child, those type of statuses, right? Could be. And Venus, we didn't talk about Venus, but Venus is in your second house. It steps into or kind of enters Libra on the 6th of the month. And, that right there is in its own home sign. You can't get better than that. No, you can't. We'll go all the way to the 6th. And here it is at 0 degrees. It's in his own home sign. It's powerful. And that house is ruled by Venus in the natural zodiac. So what that means is that it's in its own natural house. One of them is the second and the seventh for Venus. And it is, you know, it is it's Venus. Venus is in its own really house and in its own sign. You can't beat that. So that's really powerful, is what I mean. So Venus rules your well-being, your self-worth, your relationships, and your money and your values. It also rules your personal priorities, which is your values, really. So here we have Venus making a square to Mars in your 10th house of authority and ambition over your own life. This is also the house of the father, your status, right? As I was saying, in your career. So, yeah, maybe your status is changing here, but this is asking for some type of a change, some type of, or like that, an adjustment that you need to make here. Um, Venus rules also, looking at Venus, it rules your second house and your ninth house of growth and expansion. So when Venus moves into Libra on the 6th, there's some type of growth that is triggering, it's triggering your growth, or your growth and expansion is triggering some type of thing that is asking you to do. Um, yeah, interesting there. hmm You might be trying to seek more harmony and balance in your life as well. Yeah, you could be trying to do that. And when we talk about right here, which is so important, at least for the first 3 weeks, because the sun will be in Leo the first 3 weeks of the month, right? And then, the sun enters your sign. But, when we have Jupiter here, the planet of growth and expansion, and your own Mercury enters Leo as well, just a few days later, right? So when we have this, here is uh, Mercury entering Leo. But when we have this here, we talk about Jupiter, right? So Jupiter, Gemini, Mercury, and Mercury happens to rule your 10th house, the one I was talking about, and Jupiter rules your 7th house of relationships. So this is also about harmony in your life, legal matters. Maybe there's something, going on there for you. There may be, but and kind of arguments, or opponents, things like that, things that we want to settle, sometimes justice. But Jupiter also rules Sagittarius, and this is your fourth house of home and family. There definitely could be something going on there too. There is a trine to Lilith, interesting, from your 12th house. Yeah, and this is you kind of confronting some type of shadow aspect in your life. It's a flow. It's making it easy. And the kite is showing for you to let go of something that maybe has to do with old childhood wounds. All right, because that's the fourth house of family. And so definitely could be. And also, yeah, we have that this shadow. This is Sagittarius, your fourth house of emotional needs. Whatever you're doing here, or whatever you are kind of being pushed to do, is for your like it's just for your well-being. Yeah. And there's probably likely some type of change that is um, being asked for. Yeah, because in your second house of well-being, we have Venus making a trine to Uranus. So, Venus wants peace and harmony, especially in Libra, in relationships as well. And Uranus wants change. The trine is there making it, kind of easy or a flow. And this is in your house of your public role, how other people see you, the authority and ambition, the authority you have of your own life, and your status, right? We talked about what status can be, marriage, divorce, graduating college, or having a child, things like that. There's all kinds of statuses there are in society, right? Yeah, and the sun's going to enter your sign on the 22nd. Let's look at that. And here it is. The sun, actually, it's hours later. I said, oh, it's the 23rd, really. Here it is. It's at 0 degrees. And, it's going to be showing you things about yourself, of course, when the sun is in your own sign. It's favorable when the sun is in your sign, your birthday season. And then Mercury itself will move into Virgo 2 days later. And here it is. So your own Mercury here and the sun here, the end of August and the beginning of September is really favorable for you, of course. Your own sign is there and the sun is there to shine on you, right? Your own ruler, rather, all right? Yeah, and so it's moved out. Mercury has already moved out of the 12th house, like it knows what it needs to leave behind. There's just some spiritual growth there. I'm sure there is. Um, and so now, it's very good, right? We also have, we have, yeah, and we have, let's look at that for 1 second. Um, what is it with Chiron? Now, so now we have the sun, and earlier we had, I believe, a square, but now we have the sun and Mercury in a trine with Chiron in your house of growth and expansion and wisdom and higher purpose. You're growing. There's something that you're really going to grow or is helping you expand your life, and it's likely to make you feel much happier because the sun was in that 12th house of letting things go. So very cool for you right there. When the sun trines Chiron, that's a very good thing. And this is for your own self-expression or your own happiness, the sun. Um, yeah. And so we have the new moon, and we have the new moon in Leo on the 12th. And so here it is, and the new moon, the moon is being quite friendly. It's aligned here with the sun that it does every time there's a new moon. So interesting about how it's in the 12th house. I'll do a whole separate video on that for all the 12 signs. And that is in heartfelt Leo, romantic and expressive Leo, right? Leo rules from the heart. Leo's also about leadership. Maybe you're taking the lead in your life in some way, right? And then we also have the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, and that will be on the 28th of the month, and I'll have a separate video on that. That would be quite interesting for you, Virgo. It will be in your seventh house of relationships. Full moons can bring endings and new beginnings, right? So there's a lot more to it. So, don't kind of run with that. But do watch the video, right? Yeah. So thanks so much, Virgo, for joining me here and please like, share, and subscribe. Make a comment. I love comments. I really appreciate that. It really kind of helps my channel. And hit the little bell if you want to be notified of my next upload. If you want a reading with me, check out the description box below. Thank you so much, Virgo, and I'll see you in the next one. So let's move now to Libra. And Libra is important this month. Why? Because Venus is in its own sign. Venus is in your sign. OMG, yeah. So it's very powerful, Libra. So I would say whatever you're trying to do, whatever is important to you, I would be focusing on it because this is very powerful for you, right? Now, Venus rules your other, Taurus. This is your eighth house of transformation. So, see what I mean? Whatever you want to do, this is a power. It's a hidden house, but it's a house of power as well. It's money and emotional intimacy and understanding psychological themes well. And with Venus here in your first house, and ruling that house, this is the month for you to understand yourself at a deep level. I would definitely say that. Relationships as well. This is also a relationship house about emotional intimacy, right? Now, Libra. Uh, yeah, the sun is in your 11th house of the future, shining on that, activating it, and emphasizing what you want for the future. This is your house of hopes and gains. And the sun can be about what we want to create, right? It rules creative pursuits and our own self-expression and talents and things. And Jupiter is there as well, all right? So this is your house of like-minded people and friends, right? And people that we collaborate with. The sun is there. Jupiter is, bringing wisdom to that 11th house. Jupiter's inspiring you to live from the heart because that will support your future. This is Leo. Leo is the heart. Jupiter is inspiring you to have courage. And whatever you're doing right now, Jupiter will expand that. Yes, at least in this month because the sun is here in Leo, right? Uh, until actually the sun moves into Virgo, and that'll be different. But yeah, and so let's see what else I have. And so I have here. You might be, and you might have a lot of fun. You could be having a lot of fun this month. You really could be. Um, because it's in the sign of Leo, the sun is in the sign of Leo, and it's future oriented. You could be really hanging out with friends or like-minded people. You might be, right? But you could also be questioning if a relationship can last. And so Jupiter is ruling your sixth house of problem solving. This is your house of health and wellness and work and service. Also, obstacles and problem solving. This is what you do every day. This is your daily routines, your habits, and your lifestyle. But it's possible you are um, questioning whether a relationship can last. That could be, or if somebody has the same values as you. Yeah, you might be asking that question here. The South Node is here in Leo, in the sign of love, right? And yeah, so this is what you're moving away from. And this is representing lack and the past. So, maybe you are trying to kind of do that, right? Um, yeah, wow. Okay, so we also have Jupiter. Remember, Jupiter is here in your 11th house of the future. Jupiter is a benefic, so that's why I was saying you could probably be really enjoying your life. Um, and yeah, you may be. And so, let me see this Jupiter here. It's making a trine to Neptune and Saturn in your seventh house of relationships, and also sextiling Uranus, which is being ruled by Mercury, right? And so Mercury's in your 10th house of authority and ambition and status over your own, like your authority, ambition over your own life. It's career, and public image, and maybe you want to retire. Maybe you're thinking about that because Mercury's in that house. And it's really your ninth house of growth and higher purpose. There could be something that you really want here for yourself. And Jupiter is sextiling, the moon is at 8 degrees, making a perfect sextile on the 7th here, right after Venus has entered your sign. And this sextile is something good, yeah, and also to Uranus. There's some change here that is going to help you if you take it, if you take this opportunity to move into the future, right, or to improve, or this is something inspirational. Jupiter is ruling the sixth house of work. It could be work. I think you have an opportunity here for work here, or to make your life better on a kind of regular basis. Yeah. That's right. And Jupiter's ruling your third house of ideas. This is your third house of thinking. So, You are definitely, I would say you're in the month of August, you're really thinking about the future. Jupiter sitting in your future house. Wow. So, yeah. All right. So, and Jupiter is you're ruling, this is your house of plans and goals and skills and also willpower. I would say that you have a lot of willpower for the future. You do. And courage. Yeah, because the sun is in Leo in your 11th. All right. Um, yeah, and then, natal Venus will move into discerning Virgo. Yeah, in your 12th house, natal Venus, I think I meant, well, it was, right? It was earlier, it was in your 12th house. So this is kind of what I meant about questioning a relationship. Venus rules relationships, it does, and it is opposing Neptune in your 7th house of relationships, ruled by Mars in Aries in the sign of the self, and it's in a square with Mars. Mars is in your 9th house of higher purpose and growth and expansion, right? What's meaningful to you. You could be questioning a relationship at the beginning of the month. You might be doing that. And maybe whether it can last, that could be the case. Yeah, there's something like that going on here. Okay, so or there may be, right? I don't have your chart in front of me to actually, But yeah, Let's see what else I have for you, Libra. Or you might feel misunderstood with that type of because Mars is in Gemini, Mercury ruled, which is the mind, and Venus is in Mercury ruled Virgo. So you might feel misunderstood in a relationship. Therefore, you might feel that there's not you can't you might feel that you are like it's less meaningful or something because you're not able to there could be a misunderstanding or you don't feel you don't feel understood. Yeah, and Jupiter uh yeah, so yeah, not Jupiter, but Venus and Mars. Yeah. All right. So, um, you could want somebody to grow up as well. You might want somebody to mature because this is the house of growth and expansion, and Mars can represent, in immaturity. Excuse me. And, Venus's relationships down here, and it is opposing Mars, Mars ruled Aries right here. So, yeah, you might think that somebody's immature, right? But no worries, because after that is when your own sign, your own Venus enters your sign. As I was saying earlier, it's powerful, right? Yeah, it is when Venus is in its own sign, or any ruler is, in its own sign for sure. All right. And Venus is sextiling Mercury in the 10th house, and that's where it is here. Let's do this now. This is at 25. It's still here, still in a sextile here. Yeah, this is kind of I don't know why it's not showing that. Oh, now it's showing it here. You see the green line here. So we have Venus sextiling Mercury in your 10th house of authority over your own life. This could be about a father figure. It may be about your career, possibly. But, now Venus moving into its own sign, you're taking your power here. You're stepping into your power literally and you are sextiling, Venus is doing the sextiling here to Mercury. This is like you kind of understanding how to take control, how to take power in a situation, because this is your house of authority and ambition, your personal authority. So you're understanding something. You may be understanding the role of somebody better, and maybe you are a little bit forgiving there as well. You could be understanding, it could be showing that a little bit. Yeah, it might be, it definitely could be, all right. And intelligent Mercury enters Leo on the 9th. And yeah, and so when it enters Leo, let's move to the 9th. Um, Here's Mercury right here in Leo, right? This can be very creative. You could have a lot of creative ideas, creative kind of, your creative skills, and they can expand in the month of August, all right? And you may be thinking up new ideas. You definitely could be, all right? You may be having a lot of fun, maybe with intelligent types. That could be the case there. Yeah. But when Mercury enters Leo, on the ninth, it's asking you to be smart and be true to yourself, Leo, Libra, because Mercury is ruling your ninth house of growth and expansion and your 12th house of surrender here. So it's asking you, as it enters here, it's asking you to be true to yourself because, Mercury is supposed to kind of behave under Leo, and Leo wants you to be true to yourself because Leo is ruling your 11th house, right? Or the sun is, rather. Um, yeah, and you might be seeing something very meaningful about how to bring more joy into your life. You could be enjoying yourself a lot, but there is some mental reflection, there's some kind of definitely mental activity going on, all right? It could be also be, kind of letting you understand somebody at the heart level. It could be creative ideas or favored ideas to earn more money, and if you're willing to embrace change. And so Mercury and Jupiter are sextiling Uranus, the planet of change. Here's Uranus, and yeah, here they are making that sextile here. Here's Jupiter right here at 8 degrees with Uranus at 5. And then this, yeah, this is a little bit of a looser one, but we can use it. We can use a six degree orb here. So we have both of them sextiling your ninth house of growth and expansion. There's an opportunity for you to grow or expand or move towards your higher self, your higher purpose, if you will embrace change. Uranus is change, right? Yeah, and it's probably a good idea because Uranus is in, Mercury and in your ninth. So that means that, you could really grow or expand big time because Mercury's ruling your ninth. Yeah, very, very good there too. All right. Yeah, and Mercury enters Virgo on the 25th, bringing spiritual growth and understanding. It sure does. And showing you what no longer fits in your life, and this inner knowing and spirit, and showing you also with this inner knowing and spiritual growth for sure. And that is Mercury enters Virgo. That's way on the 25th. So on the 11th, 12th, we have the new moon. I'll be doing a separate video on that. It's right here in your 11th house. That's where it's going to be happening in your 11th house of the future. So you're planting seeds for the future. And the new moon is about that as well. I'll have a whole video on that. Jupiter is supporting you. It's a benefic supporting you, supporting your creative visions, or supporting your sense, your own authenticity, supporting your courage. That's what Jupiter is helping to expand. Yeah, and that new moon is going to be a lot deeper than that. I will have a, uh, a whole separate video on the new moon in Leo. That will be a solar eclipse. And the solar eclipse has to do with our own self-expression and what we want to create for ourselves. That's one way. Yeah, that is, and our happiness, it really does because the sun is ruling Leo and Leo rules happiness. It does in self-expression. So then on the 28th, we're going to have the full moon lunar eclipse, and that can create endings and culminations. That will be in Pisces, definitely asking us to trust our intuition and to believe in our dreams. That's what that's about. And so for you, we'll talk all about that for all the 12 signs. All right. So, yeah, so thank you so much for joining me here, Libra. And please like, share, and subscribe if you've enjoyed my video. And hit the little bell if you want to be notified of my next upload. All right. If you want a reading, check out the description box below. They're very, very deep. If you think I'm deep here, they're super. They are. All right. So here, Scorpio, let's see what we have for you. For Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising, the sun is in your 10th house of career. This is also your house of authority and ambition over your own life. It doesn't have to necessarily be career. It's long-term goals. It's also the father and your status or your reputation, kind of how you show your public image, how other people may see you, all right? And so that's where we have the sun there, and you might be, thinking about those, or let's go back earlier here. We don't want to be here. Let's go back to the kind of beginning of the month here. And the sun is with Jupiter. So, this is, amplifying those career themes or those authority, personal authority over your own life, those. The sun is associated with that as well, because the sun is also leadership, right? And, the sun is also your self-expression, and being true to yourself. So it's in this house of personal authority. So, maybe you are thinking something is going to, uh, that could be what your kind of your mind is on. I talked about this also in the opposition with Pluto and the full moon of Aquarius, right? In Aquarius, you may want to see that because it really is, Pluto is your sign. It's really kind of a Scorpio full moon and an Aquarian full moon. That's kind of how I see it. But yeah, and so yes, and Jupiter can bring you opportunities in your career. It definitely can, Scorpio, right? Now, Pluto is in this fourth house of home and family and emotional needs. Yeah, go see the other video, the full moon in Aquarius, if you want to hear more about that because it's important. It's very interesting as well. Yeah, especially for you because Pluto is your modern ruler, and Venus, right? Venus is the planet of love, well-being, and money. Enters your 12th house of endings on the 6th. So we'll move that ahead. And here's Venus. So Venus is making a trine to Pluto. Venus is a benefic as well. Pluto is transformation. I mean, in the most, kind of important kind of saying here, right? Or, important description. Also, it represents power and uh, deep psychology is Pluto. Pluto represents crises as well. Yeah, it also represents intimate relationships as it represents your eighth house, right? When, whatever is describing in the house is key, right, to the planet itself, right? That's why it has its own house, of course. So we have Venus making that trine. Venus is in your 12th house of endings, asking you to let something go here. Yeah, and it's being ruled by Venus because it's in its own sign. Venus rules your house of relationships. Something is leaving. It's making a trine to Pluto. Pluto's change. And in that fourth house, you're letting go either of a relationship or the way you look at relationships, or maybe you are standing in your own power here. That could be the case when we have Venus making that trine to Pluto, right? So, yeah. And Pluto is in a square with Chiron in Venus ruled Taurus. So it's asking you to kind of let go of something, some old kind of maybe a wound or something, right? I have a whole video on Chiron in Taurus because Chiron is the wound that we carry to sabotage ourselves. It's in your house of relationships, and this trine to Pluto, the square rather, has something to do with asking you to make an adjustment about change. And how you kind of show up in relationships, maybe even how you choose partners, possibly. But whatever this change is asking you for, it is helping you with your emotional needs or supporting your emotional well-being because that's the fourth house. Yes, and very interesting there. All right, so yeah, we talked about Venus a little bit. I feel like we did. Yeah, and so let's see what else I have for you here. All right, let's see about Mercury here. Let's look at Mercury right now. Mercury's in, excuse me, at the beginning of the month, Mercury's in Cancer, and it moves into Leo on the 9th. Let's move the wheel. And it's actually, at the beginning of the month, it's in your house of growth and expansion. Mercury there is telling you, it's telling you what can help you grow. It's also showing you your purpose. It could be showing you your higher purpose, and you're like, wow, that's great, right? For sure. Now, Mercury rules your eighth house of transformation. So whatever's happening here, whatever you are kind of being shown here about your growth or your higher purpose, right, is under the rulership of Gemini, Mercury. So and Mercury's ruling this eighth house is what I mean. This eighth house is transformation. It is also intimate, emotional intimacy. Yeah, deep psychological themes. So something's changing for you as you are growing or as you are expanding. And we already saw that earlier. We did with Venus, and yeah, we did. So Mercury is going to enter Leo on the 9th, and we'll move that ahead. Now, here's Mercury in Leo. Mercury in Leo is basically saying, kind of, it can be supporting your creative ideas. It can also kind of tell you, where you feel happy, what makes you feel happy, right? And you could be understanding love possibly at, a little bit at a deeper level, especially as Mercury represents this house or rules this house of emotional intimacy. Yeah. So Mercury's there in Leo, in your 10th house of career. This is also your house, remember, of authority and ambition over your own life. So you're going to be smart here about that. You definitely are. And Jupiter is expanding whatever is going on for you, Scorpio, there. Yeah. You may be making decisions or creating new goals for the long term. And yeah, and so Mercury will enter discerning Virgo. That is at the end of the month, and that will be in your 11th house. So all these, it just seems like right here you have a lot of ideas over the next month here, starting in August, right, about your growth, expanding your life, your career, or your authority over your own life, and how to move yourself into the future. That's where Mercury will be at the end of the month in Virgo, right? Actually on the 25th, just 2 days after the sun has entered Virgo, right? Um, yeah, and even in the month of, this is all about your future in the month of August and or the end of August when the sun enters the 11th house. This is your house of hopes and wishes, the future, your gains from the 10th. So there's something you're doing here that is either improving your career, boosting you. Is very good, Scorpio. All right. Now, Mars, we have to talk about Mars because Mars is your ruling planet. So where is Mars now? We're on the 9th. Right now, it is in Gemini. Um, It's going to enter Cancer. Okay, yeah, on the 11th, 2 days or a day before the new moon in Leo, right? And the new moon will be in your 10th house of career and authority and ambition over your own life. So this is what I mean. You can be planting new seeds. You could have, this could be very hopeful for you. It's in Leo. Leo is expressive, it's creative. Um, and yeah, and this is about happiness or something that you want. It's likely that you are moving toward, I believe, that can make you like happier, of course, right? Or more true to yourself, right? Which is, they go hand in hand though, don't they? So Mars is entering Cancer on the 11th, and we have it right here. That's going to be in your ninth house of growth and expansion and wisdom. And so this is your house of purpose and what matters or what's meaningful to you. And we've been talking about all this, but Mars here is going to take action here. You are creating some type of meaning in your life or moving into your purpose, whatever that is. It may be career. And Mars is ruling your sixth house of work. See how beautiful that is. This is your sixth house of obstacles, but it's your sixth house of your daily habits and your lifestyle, your health and wellness as well. So you're likely to be creating very good habits. It's in nurturing Cancer. So that will help if you are definitely nurturing yourself. And we also see Mars making a sextile to Vesta. Vesta is about your excuse me, and Chiron, but Vesta is about your excuse me, your kind of your it's related to Libra, your well-being, your harmony in your life. That's what Vesta is. So by being, it's almost like you're growing here and you are creating more harmony in your own life. And that can have to do with your work or the way you are running your daily lifestyle. Yeah, definitely can be. All right. Um, that's right. Okay, so and yeah, we have the new moon on the 12th, and that will be in Leo. I kind of, brushed on that a little bit, glossed over that, but I'll have a full video on that, right? And this is so beautiful in your 10th house, Scorpio, where Mercury, the planet of thinking and goals and, right, and skills and, and then we have Jupiter here. This is willpower too, in courageous Leo, and Jupiter here expanding your career or kind of your sense of self or taking control over your own life, right? And really kind of, this is authority over your own life. It definitely is. So we'll have that new moon in Leo. And we're also going to have at the end of the month, on the 28th, we'll have the full moon, lunar eclipse in Pisces. And that's another water sign. And for you, that will be in your house, your fifth house of leadership, how you shine, being true to yourself, your talents, your self-expression, and also romance and children and enjoying your life. So we can see kind of what's going on here. It looks really good. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me here, Scorpio. If you liked my video, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the little bell, and you'll be notified of my next video, my next upload. If you want a reading with me, they're very deep. I say this all the time because Scorpios like deep, they like depth. The interesting thing is I talked to a Scorpio the other day, and he gave me his name. He gave me, not his name, of course I know his name, but he gave me his time of birth and where he was born, in the day exactly, but he wouldn't give me the year. And I said, well, why not? And, I mean, I can't look at your chart without it. And he said, well, that's secret. That's like private, which is a very scorpionic thing. I just thought to myself, well, you're never going to get your chart, which is so, so deep. And Scorpio likes depth. So thank you so much, Scorpio, for joining me here. And now let's move to Sagittarius. And we have you on the ascendant here, and we will move things back to the beginning of the month, Sagittarius. And let's have a look at your notes here, or my notes, right? Yeah. Okay, and the sun is in your ninth house, and it is conjoined with your natal Jupiter. All right, so we see it here. So Jupiter is in its own sign for a whole year. It's in its own house, rather, not the sign. And it's in its own house for a whole year, the ninth house of growth and expansion, and that's what it represents. So the sun is showing you, at least while the sun is in Leo, showing you what's meaningful to you and what can help you grow and expand. And, it can help show you your purpose, right? Sagittarius. And also in Leo, it is showing you your talents, and it's also encouraging you to have courage. Yes, it is, right? And see how we have encourage is about courage, right? It sure is. So it's doing that. Um, yeah, and this can help you, grow in leaps and bounds. It sure can. And to expand more creatively. Jupiter also rules your fourth house of home and family. And emotional needs, your emotional security, right? Your foundation, and also the past and your lineage. So maybe right now you are kind of really, and this is the house of the grandfather too. Um, right? Jupiter rules the house of the mother and the family, and this is so maybe you are really kind of nostalgic right now. You could be. Um, and maybe you want to teach here. You could be learning something, and maybe you think, well, I'm gonna teach it after, right? After I learn. The teacher and the student are like that, right? It's just the same thing. It really is, because once you reach a certain level of aptitude, you're going to be able to, or proficiency, you're going to be able to teach. Yeah. And so we have Venus, and Venus is the power of love, money, and well-being, enters your 11th house on the 6th. And let's move the wheel. And where is Venus in Libra? Oh, right here. So this is your 11th house of the future. This is your house of friends and collaborators, like-minded people. So, you might be hanging out with friends more. You definitely could be. And Venus, since Venus represents love, right? And fairness, it represents two signs, Libra and Taurus. So, for Libra, it's love and fairness and, balancing the scales and harmony. It's also one-on-ones and relationships, but and clients rather, but Venus rules Taurus, and so Taurus is our self-worth and our well-being. So you could be feeling really good, um, right, in when Venus enters your 11th house on August 6th. You could really be feeling great then. You really could be, yeah. And so Venus is ruling that sixth house, and this is your sixth house of work. So you may have creative ideas or possibly creative pursuits. Venus also rules artistic creativity. It sure does, and beauty. Um, yeah, and so it's ruling the sixth house of work, health, and wellness. You may be also able to, Sagittarius, create more just well-being in your daily life. Your daily habits and everything just are kind of bringing you more calm or peace, definitely with Venus moving here into that 11th and it ruling the sixth for sure, right? Interesting, the moon is in Taurus on that day as well. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and making a trine to Venus. So yeah, wow, very cool there. Right from Venus ruled Taurus. Yeah, there's something here, and that is supporting you, definitely supporting you as you move into the future, supporting your money, your relationships, your well-being, and yeah, such a good thing there. All right. And you may just, as I said, you might be more calm with your daily habits. Right? Which is always good for you, right? And Venus will trine the moon. Yeah, I said that. And Uranus in Gemini. Where is Gemini here? Um, no, it's not going to trine Uranus. No, it's not. Venus will trine the moon. Um, no, not Uranus. So maybe that is sometime later in the month, but definitely not right now. That's just a little error I made here. Here is. Oh, so here it is. No, it's not an error. So we do have Venus, now that I have cleared the chart, right? Cleared the wheel. We have Venus trining Uranus in your seventh house of relationships and harmony and balance in your life. And, this is also the house of opponents and things that you don't kind of agree with. But this trine here is something very supportive, and it is helping you to kind of, this can be about clients as well, the seventh house and one-on-ones, but it's ruled by Mercury here. And so this is your seventh house, and this has to do with love over here and well-being and the future. And so there's something you're changing here that has to do with possibly the way you think, because it's in Gemini, but that is helping you support your future. Uranus is future oriented, as is the 11th house. All right. Yeah, you could be embracing. You might be seeing also, because Uranus is in a sextile with Jupiter here. Yeah, it is. And so you could be seeing your relationships from a higher perspective. You just could be. You could be feeling a little bit more, true to yourself up here. Jupiter is in, self-expressive Leo and courageous Leo, also romantic. So you could be kind of, looking at your relationships with a higher perspective. That's always a good thing. More wiser with Jupiter there. All right. Um, yeah, and there could be, for you, Sagittarius, there could be an opportunity to expand or grow a relationship because this moon is also, it's at 24. Um, well, that is as we move, I believe, sextiling Jupiter. But let's look at that. And that is on the 9th. So here we have the moon. No, 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 this is a semi-sextile. But back here, it's at 8 degrees. Here is the sextile that are, it's in my notes here, but this is on the 7th, the day after Venus has entered your 11th house of the future. So we have this moon, though, making the sextile to Jupiter. You're going to be looking at relationships with kind of more emotional strength. That's an opportunity for you to do that in a higher perspective. And um, you could return to somebody from the past. The moon represents the past. It's in your house of relationships. Wow. So that's kind of interesting there, right? We have the eclipses on the 12th. Well, we have one of them on the 12th, and that is the day after Mars enters Cancer. Let's move to the 11th now, and we have Mars showing up in Cancer right here. So Mars in Cancer can have you protecting loved ones. It can also make you a little passive aggressive. It can, because I understand Mars in Cancer at a deep level. And so, but this is transformation, and this is you taking the reins. This is you wanting some type of change here in your life. That you want some type of transformation, and it can have to do with your emotional intimacy because it's in that house. And you're able to see things at a, maybe at a very deep level with Mars in Cancer. You could be a little bit more kind of kinder or nurturing. Um, and this sextile here, it is to Vesta, where you can make more, and this is in Leo, in romantic Leo, where you are, it's like you're almost kind of creating more harmony in your own relationships. Yeah, and maybe that has to do with a particular relationship, as I was saying earlier, but it depends, but your perspective is a little bit different. Yeah. And Mars, when we see Mars trining the North Node in your third house of the way you think, right? And this is like you, like I'm thinking, it's like here you are, you're trying to get somewhere. This is a house of money as well. So this trine can make it easier for you to make more money. That money is the house of other people's money, which can have to do with anything. It can have to do with, your employer, or if you run a business, or other people's money, right? Shared wealth, not only, like your partner's money, right? So very cool there. And we have Mars, which is ruling your Aries, this fifth house. You see, yes, it's making a sextile to its own fifth house, really. It rules Mars. So this is strong. That I was saying that your attitude, your perspective about love is different. There's something like that here. And you're open to change. Yeah, you're embracing change or transformation. You are. All right. And then we have the next day. And Mars also rules your 12th house of ending. So there's something here, Sagittarius, that you are doing that is kind of bringing more harmony and balance to your life. Yeah, it definitely, I would say. And so, and your relationships and your perspective about it, because you have Jupiter in Leo. Leo is love. And the sun is right there, helping you bring clarity. Now, the next day is the 12th. It's the new moon in Leo in your ninth house of growth and expansion. So it's a really good month for you. It really is, where you're growing, you're expanding, and you're doing it regarding something with purpose, right? That's what kind of everybody's doing with Jupiter. But yours is in your ninth house of growth and expansion. So this is why I'm saying that kind of particularly here, right? And we have Mercury and in conjunction, and it moves into a perfect conjunction later in the month. I think it's on the 15th. Um, yeah, it is on the 15th. They're both going to be at the same degree. But here, I think it's 8 degrees. But here we have Mercury, and it's already starting, beginning the conjunction. So they're working together. Mercury is telling you how to grow. It's telling you what to study, what to learn. And Jupiter could be maybe saying, I'm going to teach it. It could be, right? But whatever you're learning here and whatever you're expanding is bringing you to a higher purpose. And it is true to you because here's the sun right here. Right? And the sun is about our own self-expression, and it's in its own sign. It's not in Virgo yet or Cancer. It's in its own sign, so it's powerful. So this is being true to yourself, and it is helping you grow, or it's helping you expand. All right. So we have that new moon. It's in Leo, and that is, you're going to be planting seeds about everything I'm talking about here, really. And then that will be the solar eclipse. And that is for, planting new seeds for the future. It's a very hopeful time. It can be a transition. And also, we have the full moon and it's a solar eclipse. So the sun has to do with your own self-expression. This can be your own, right? Basically, we have the full moon in Libra, and that is on the 28th of the month. And so, yeah, and so that will be like in Pisces, in very intuitive Pisces. So that can bring eclipses can bring life-changing chapters or episodes or right or events is the best word here. So something can really change for you, especially a full moon eclipse. Something can be culminating from the new moon in Pisces 6 months ago. So think back to what you were doing in February. It was likely in February, the new moon in Pisces, somewhere around there. Trust your dreams, and I'll have a whole different video on that because Pisces is also ruled by Jupiter. So you'll definitely want to see that video. Yeah, and then later in the month, we have Mercury entering. Let's see what else I have here. Um, Yeah, we have Mercury entering discerning Virgo. So first the Sun enters Virgo on the 23rd, and here it is. So the Sun, toward the end of the month, the Sun will be in your 10th house of career and personal authority and ambition in discerning Virgo. So Virgo is going to help you out here, right? Some people say Virgo kind of criticizes or something. We need Virgo. We definitely need, that's not true for all Virgos anyway, but we need Virgo because Virgo helps us discern. It helps us improve things. It helps us refine. So here, the sun will be there, definitely helping you. And 2 days later, Mercury, the ruler of Virgo here, and the ruler of Gemini, but Mercury, kind of, enters its own house here, and yeah, and so its own sign really that it rules. So this is you're going to have a lot of ideas about your career or how to really kind of step into your own authority. Yes, definitely you could. And so that's highly interesting. You're probably going to be leaving things behind that don't help you grow because we have Mercury, it is conjoined with the South Node in Leo in your ninth house of growth, right, and expansion. Um, and you might see, yeah, you might be pursuing new career, maybe new career options. You might be doing that because this can be about skills, Mercury in your 10th house of career, skills as well. And you might have some understanding about your status as it relates to your career. Maybe you're kind of stepping up and becoming a spiritual teacher or something like that, right? Um, so yeah, you might be doing that, or stepping up. Maybe you're going to be the head nurse now, right? And that's a status, right? That's a status change, or whatever you're doing, Sagittarius, right? And do we talk about Mars? No, we didn't. So Mars, let's talk about Mars because it rules courage and drive. And Mars is ruling your 12th house of endings and release, and it rules your fifth house of self-expression, talents, being true to yourself, love and sex, and having fun. So this is a very important house. And so we have Mars actually squaring your fifth house. Mars is actually in your house of transformation. It enters Cancer on the 11th of the month. We'll move this back here. And yeah, and so here's Mars. And it is actually sextiling Chiron, though. That's a beautiful thing. In your sixth house of habits, your work, and there could be, and this is a very discerning and problem-solving house. It's in Taurus, which is self-worth, and this sextile here can help you transform how you feel about yourself and really kind of give your self-worth a boost because it's giving you some type of opportunity to overcome something with Chiron. So, maybe you thought I don't know, you couldn't do something, or you weren't good enough, or, I'm not saying that's the case. I'm saying, sometimes, right? It's a possibility, but that sextile here is going to take you out of that. There's an opportunity if you take it. All right. So yeah, and that's very important, right? And also we have Mars. Mars rules courage and drive. It's in nurturing Cancer. That may be helpful. We have to be careful for passive aggressive people here. We do when Mars is in Cancer. Yes, we do. And it's, especially, be careful for kind of arguments maybe with family members. Cancer does rule the family, right? Maybe this is interesting. Maybe your mother kind of wants to run your life right here when Mars is in Cancer. It doesn't have to be. It's just, one of many possibilities. But Mars is trining your third house of ideas, skills, goals, um, right? Yeah. So, and it's trining the North Node, which is your higher purpose and what your soul wants for you. This is destiny, right? At the same time, uh, it also sextiles this South Node. So while it's trining this and making it very easy for you, Sagittarius, to transform your goals and you move toward your higher purpose at the same time, it's sextiling the South Node in your house of growth and expansion, saying move away from things that are limiting. Yeah, you get like a confidence boost because this in August you do this Mars with this sextile to Vesta in your fifth house of courage. Really, this is your house of the sun, the house of, and this is the sign of courage as well. Yeah, Aries. That sextile is to Vesta, and this is harmony and balance for you as well, not only Chiron. So you're bringing in, as you have more courage, and as you like are more authentic with yourself. Yeah, yeah, this is very good for you. All right. Mars is ruling that 12th house of endings here, so it's definitely going to ask you to leave something behind. All right. And this is also your house of spiritual growth. So yeah, it's very good. And on the 11th, when Mars enters Cancer, um, yeah, we have the part of fortune here. This is how you thrive. So wow, and it's actually getting a square from the Moon and Jupiter. And Mercury. Look at that. So Mercury and Jupiter saying, hey, if you want to grow here or, to be wiser, act from the heart and you will thrive but you have to leave something out because it's in this 12th house. You have to move on from something. It's also opposing Chiron, which is overcoming a wound, all right? May have to do with your self-worth. You might have had fears or something as well. This is also the house of fears. And no worries, everybody's had fears in their life, and they might not tell you that, right? They might not share that, but that's okay, right? So, yeah, thank you so much, Sagittarius, for joining me here. If you liked my content, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell, and I'll be back with another video. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you guys. Make a comment. And always see the intro, right? But make a comment. It really, it's helpful for me on my channel. It sure is. If you want your own reading with me, they're super cool. They are. You can get one and check out the description box below. Yeah, it's very deep. It's very deep, empowering. It's healing, it's empowering, and it is fascinating, especially if you want to see your lineage in your chart. Whoa, right? It also shows you what you're here to do, your gifts, and it shows you things you don't understand about yourself, right? We have three hidden houses, right? I'm always saying that, and it's Pisces, it's Cancer, and um, it is Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio are the hidden houses, right? Uh, and it's interesting because, yeah, you have them in the fourth, the eighth, and the 12th. Wow. Very interesting there. So thank you so much, Sagittarius, for joining me because actually, Cancer rules the fourth over here, Scorpio rules the eighth over here, and Pisces rules the 12th over here. They're just kind of switched, but yeah. Thanks so much for joining me here. Yeah, Sagittarius. And now let's go to Capricorn. And let's put Capricorn on the wheel. So Capricorn, on August 3rd, the Sun and Jupiter in Leo are in your eighth house of transformation. And so let's go back here. So, I beg your pardon here. So here's the sun. Did I say the moon? No, the sun and Jupiter are in Leo, and this is in your eighth house of transformation. Now, there's a big change here for you, and you're growing, as most likely here, you are growing and expanding, or the change is helping you to grow and expand. Yeah. But, Jupiter will be here all year, and the sun will not be here. It'll be moving on, right, to Virgo. But it is in its own sign, the sun. So basically, when we talk about the horoscope here for you, we can be more sure because we don't have something else to consider. The sun is the ruler of Leo, right? Now, yeah, and so, yeah, let's see what else I have for you here as well. All right, so we have the sun and the moon, and they are in this eighth house of transformation. That's your house of emotional intimacy. It doesn't always have to be sex. No, it can be the close relationships. And this is also deep psychological themes and shared money. And that is making a trine to your natal Saturn, and that's important. So here's your Saturn here, down here. And so we have this here, and the trine is to your house of home and family, but this is your house of emotional needs as well. So, but this trine is helping you, is supporting you, but it can be supporting your purpose at the same time, your authority and ambition over your own life. Yeah, and also supporting your long-term goals as well, all at the same time, which is a beautiful thing. Yeah, it is. Jupiter wants growth and expansion, Capricorn, and Jupiter is ruling your 12th house of endings. So there's something you have to let go of, basically, to kind of enjoy this trine. The trine is, it's not a guaranteed. It's like it makes it easier and there's a flow there. But if there are other things in the chart that are asking, like squares, asking you to do something, kind of adjust, or if you have a rulership ruling this 12th house of endings, then, then there's something you have to release here as well. All right. This is also, Jupiter also rules your, this house of, endings and release, but intuition and spiritual growth. This is also the house of self-sacrifice and sabotage. Yeah. We don't want anybody to do that. You have your little shadow right here that it's in your 12th house. So that means something, you need to face something and let it go, really, right? We all do. We all have, Black Moon Lilith in our chart, all right? Yeah, there's nobody who kind of gets out of it, all right? You know, those people who try to get out of everything. And Jupiter is also ruling your third house of ideas. This is your third house of the mind, of your thinking and your intelligence. So, here, like what's good for you, right? Yeah, and maybe you have to release something. It has to do with your early childhood, that maybe has kind of connected to your willpower as well, because willpower rules the third house. This can be about siblings, but the point about it here is that there's this major growth and expansion. But we have the square to also, well, don't pay attention to the AC because it moved. Yeah, don't pay attention to that. The AC has moved. It's supposed to be here in the first house, 90% of the time. It's not here because I keep moving the signs. But yeah, we still have a square here because it's a 90-degree configuration, right? And so it's in Scorpio, asking for a transformation from your house of transformation. Yeah, the square is to Scorpio, transformative Scorpio. So there's something you have to end or let go of or transform here for sure, right? And the trine's helping you do that. Yeah. You could be seeing yourself with more authority over your own life. You could be doing that possibly here. Um, yeah, and also what makes you happy. Yeah, for sure. All right. So Mars is ruling Saturn as well. Where's Mars at? Did I talk about? No, here's Mars. You're the 10th sign here, Capricorn, right? Mars is making a trine, a sextile rather. Um, and that is to, Pallas Athena. It's asking you to look at your emotional patterns, but there's an opportunity here for you to do it. And your emotional patterns, so you can gain wisdom in your house of your emotional needs. So this is very important, actually, right? It's also to Vesta, and Vesta is harmony and balance in your life, and there's an opportunity for you to bring more well-being or emotional security here if you are willing to kind of reflect or willing to really look at your emotional patterns, right? Because Mars can be angry as well. Mars can be a troublemaker. He can, but it is courage and drive, and it is in thinking Gemini, ruled by Mercury. Yeah. Mercury's ruling your ninth house of growth. So you can kind of see the connections here, right? Yeah. And Mars enters Cancer on the 11th. We'll move this forward. Where is Mars now? Mars has entered Cancer into your seventh house of relationships. Wow. It's in nurturing Cancer, so it's kind of supposed to be nice, but be careful for arguments with, with partners or even in business and clients. Just kind of be careful there. But Mars is, we can also, the higher expression of this, of course, is Mars is taking control, right? And making that sextile to Pallas Athena. It's still there. It's not to Pallas Athena anymore. Now on the 11th, it is to Vesta and Chiron. So this is you. This can be you kind of taking control of or asserting yourself to get over some type of a wound that has to do with your self-expression, most likely, because the sun, possible, we are in the season right now, we are of the sun and self-expression and how you shine. But this is your fifth house. It's also your fifth house of love coming from your seventh house of relationships. So there could be a wound that goes away there. And where you're able to create more harmony and balance for yourself, because Vesta sits in your fourth house of your emotional needs. All right. Now, yeah, and we talked about Jupiter, huh? Yes, ruling your 12th house. We did. And Mercury, let's talk a little bit about Mercury here. And yeah, where is little old Mercury here? Kind of got Mercury is in Cancer on the 11th. Actually, here, not in Cancer. It's actually until the 11th. That's right. So here it is moving into Leo on the actually this says on the 11th, but we don't have, sometimes the hours are off a little bit. But here it is, and this is the day before the new moon. Let's move this up now. So here's the new moon, and it's going to be an eclipse. I'll have a whole separate video on that. It's a new moon in Leo, and it's a solar eclipse. And the solar has to do with your own self-expression. Remember, the sun rules the fifth house of self-expression and talents. So, you could be planting new seeds about your creativity. Your life could really change kind of here. It's a possibility. Um, yeah, and you could get into a relationship here as well. This rules the heart. Yeah, that's a possibility. Into an intimate relationship with somebody. Wow. Um, and this can be about your money as well. You could be creating more opportunities for yourself, especially with Jupiter here, to create more opportunities to make money. Um, yeah, I'm not sure if I mentioned that already. No, that was in Aquarius's reading, but this is in your eighth house of shared monies. Jupiter, the Sun, Mercury, and right. And you could be looking at money in a whole different way here. You might be doing that. Yeah, that's interesting there. All right. And Venus is ruling your 10th house. So when we see Venus here, I don't think I mentioned Venus, but it is ruling your 10th house of career and also, the authority that you take over your own life. When we get a sextile from Jupiter and Mercury to um, Venus, because Venus rules money and well-being and your values and love. But when we get this sextile here, you could have opportunities here in career opportunities or opportunities for a new status, opportunities for, this is like you could see yourself with more authority and ambition over your own life, Capricorn. You might be doing that because Jupiter is a benefic. And so is Venus. It's coming from your eighth house of transformation to your 10th house of career and authority over your own life. This can be about your father sometimes or about bosses, leadership. It is coming from the sign of leadership as well. Leo rules leadership because it rules the king, number one, and the sun, but it rules like shining in your own talents, your self-expression. So when you're doing that, you are in a natural state of leadership. Yes, you are, right? They don't explain any of that stuff. Of course not, right? Why would they want to? But we have, unless you had a great teacher, right? Yeah. Or teachers, right? Mentors or whatever. But we have Venus here, and it is ruling your 10th. It's in your 10th. It's very powerful. It's trining your second house of well-being and trining this Pluto, which is transformation. So your confidence is going up. That's really what this is. You have more courage, and Leo is helping you do it, or the sun, and the astrology is really, the stars are helping you do that. Um, Yeah, very cool. And also, Venus is ruling Taurus as well, and this is your fifth house of self-expression, courage, your talents. You see what I mean? So very cool. And also, when we have the new moon, I don't know if I mentioned this, but the new moon is today on the 12th, not today, but the day of the 12th. And I think I did start to talk about that. And then we have another full moon eclipse on the 28th in Pisces, and that can definitely be life-changing. So can this, any eclipse can be, but the full moon bring endings, and sometimes like abrupt endings. And it doesn't always have to be like an ending like quitting this job today. It can be, but it can be an ending like, oh no, that's the end of that for me psychologically, right? Now I'm done with that. So, but it always means new beginnings as well. Any ending is a new beginning, right? So yeah, and it can be powerful realizations. I'll have a separate video on that, Capricorn, and I will yeah, of course, for all the 12 signs, all right? And the sun moves into Virgo on the 23rd, and then natal Mercury moves into Virgo on the 23rd. Let's move this up here. And yeah, yeah, and Jupiter is in a trine here toward the end of the month with Saturn. Wow. It's actually in a trine the whole time. It's at 9 degrees and 14. Yeah, we can do that orb. Okay, so this is really helping you out, Capricorn. And so all month long with your career, with your emotional well-being, with family, yeah, and with how you assert yourself in this because it's in Aries, it's in Mars ruled Aries, right? Very interesting there. But at the end of the month, we have, let's go back to the 23rd. We're going to go to the 25th. So we already see the sun showing up in Virgo right here. It's at 0 degrees in your ninth house of growth and expansion. The end of the month is also going to be good for you. It sure is. But it's conjoined with the South Node in Leo. So it's asking you to leave behind probably some type of image that you have for yourself, your self-image that it's not serving you. Could definitely be. And Mercury is, leave behind something that has to do with lack, um, or what's limiting you. This is kind of like move into your confidence, really. That's really what it is. We always want to move away from the South Node. And then the North Node is being opposed by the Sun that day as well, and the South Node, the North Node's in your second house of well-being and money. So in order to make more, to create more stability for you, more well-being, you have to leave something behind. And the North Node is in your under your ruler, Saturn. It's in Aquarius. Saturn also rules Aquarius. So you're gonna have to leave something behind here, right? And so, um, yeah, and now uh we have Mercury moving into its own sign in Virgo right here in your ninth house of growth and expansion. Mercury is the intelligence here. Yeah, and so it's making a natural square over here to your 12th house of endings. In order to grow, it's asking you to release something. And this is encouraging spiritual growth and meditation, spiritual practices. The 12th house is the house of meditation, alone time, retreat, reflection, introspection. It sure is. And that is that house. All right. Yeah. So it's looking really good for you. It sure is. So thank you so much, Capricorn, for joining me here today. If you liked my video, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that little bell, and I'll be back with another one. And if you want a reading with me, they're so deep. Yeah. And deep as the ocean and fascinating, healing, empowering. Yeah, it's very deep. So thanks so much for joining me here. My website is in the description box below. So now let's go to Aquarius, harmony and understanding, right, as the song goes. Um, yeah, and so we're just coming out of the full moon in your sign, and let's move back to the beginning of the month for you, Aquarius. I have you on the ascendant. And let's go to the third. All right. So the North Node is newly in your first house. This is great. This is helping you to move towards your true potential. It sure is. Wow, especially if you, yeah, definitely. So, that is if you have this, um, yeah, this is for your sun, moon, or rising. It's going to be there in one of them, right? If Aquarius is your sun, moon, or rising, yeah, for sure. But we have, where was I on this here? Um, the sun is in your seventh house, Aquarius. Let's go to your notes. That might be helpful, right? Yeah. The sun is in your seventh house of partnerships. This is your house of romantic business partnerships, one-on-ones, any type of partnership here. Really, it's in your house of justice and fairness and how you create harmony and balance in your life. And also, people or situations that argue with you or you just don't agree with them in some, right? Yeah, for some whatever reason, right? Now, and legal matters, of course, right? So we have the sun there with Jupiter. And this can be expanding your relationships. Jupiter wants to expand whatever is going on. Yeah, and it is making that as the full moon, it's still, the sun is still, or, the sun will move, but Jupiter is still opposing Pluto here, right? And it will be doing that for a long time, for a little while now. But from the seventh house to your first house of self. So there's some change here as you create harmony or in your relationships, or you might become more forgiving, but it's encouraging something about you and how you show up in relationships, right? Or how you also, this can be how you create things um, kind of and show your talents and how you may share them as well. That's kind of interesting there, right? Now, yeah. So we have Jupiter is ruling. Let's talk a little bit about, we'll talk about it briefly because I talked about this in the full moon in Aquarius, right? Jupiter's ruling your second house of well-being, and it's in Leo, it's shining. This is your second house of well-being is being like benefited because this is a great benefic. Your second house of well-being, money, self-worth, and also in Sagittarius in your 11th house of the future. So this month is very good for you in that way, for sure it is. Or even if it's asking for some type of transformation, Pluto can sometimes be it's a little bit more collective, but still it is creating some type of change, at least for the world it is, right? But when the full moon was here next to it, that is about you, right? Yeah. And the full moon, the cycle lasts for 2 days, right? 2 weeks, sorry, not 2 days, right? Yeah, it does. Full moons can last even longer. They really can. They can last up to like 6 months. They sure can. All right. So, um, yeah, so we talked about Jupiter right there. And now we have Venus is the planet of love, money, and well-being on the 6th is moving into Libra here. It has on the 6th. It's right here. It's in its own sign. It's very powerful. Venus is a benefic. It's in your house of growth and expansion. It's in your house of wisdom and higher purpose, right? It's getting a square, or it's creating a square with Mars here in your fifth house of self-expression, talents, love and sex, and having fun and enjoying your life. This is here, it's telling you to kind of reach your higher purpose, create more well-being, do your best to create more peace in your life and more well-being, because it's asking for an adjustment here. And that can help you, I believe, looking at this, it can help you meet your goals better. Yeah, it's highly interesting there, right? And also, it's also talking about, your goals because Gemini, Mars is in thinking Gemini. Gemini is associated with our goals, and so is Mars. Mars wants to assert himself, or right? In anything that is desiring, right? That it is desiring, right? It's courage and drive. Um, so, this could be about your relationships as well. It definitely can. Venus is love, and the fifth house is love as well. But it's asking you to kind of do something here, and it can create more with in your relationships or your self-expression. I feel like this has a lot to do with your relationships or the way you earn money, your well-being. But if you make some type of change here, make an adjustment, you will enjoy more money and well-being. That's really what that's saying. And your relationships can improve, definitely. Venus is ruling your fourth house of emotional well-being, and it's making a trine, uh, is making a trine to the moon on August 6th, the same day it steps into or enters Libra. So there we go, right? It's also in Taurus, and Taurus is about values, self-worth, and well-being. So we can kind of see a theme here, all right? Um, yeah, and Venus is in a trine with Pluto in your first house. So that's asking, it's actually, that is making it easy for you to grow and expand relationships or expand your relationships or grow or kind of move into a higher perspective about your relationships and how you show up in them. Um, and, bring some type of transformative power to you because Pluto does represent power. It sure does, right? Yeah, and so yeah, let's see what else I have for you. Aquarius, yep. And Mars enters Cancer on the 11th. Let's move this ahead to the 11th. And here is Mars. Right here, it's at 0 degrees. It's entering your sixth house of work, your sixth house of health and wellness, and your daily routines and your habits. So the sixth house is where we refine things. We make them better. We improve them. We get systems. We get better routines. And Mars is there to help you do that. Yeah, because Mars is so assertive. But it is opposing your 11th house of the future, and it's opposing, Lilith here. So it's asking you to face something about your shadow so you can move forward better. It could be about the people you hang out with, or the people you kind of vibe with or deal with, on a daily basis, right? Because the 11th house is future aspirations, but it's also the people that like-minded people, friends, and things like that. And so Lilith is there, yeah, with this opposition. All right. Um, yeah, Mars is ruling your third house of ideas, your third house of thinking, your third house of willpower, plans and goals and skills. So yeah, there's something that it's asking you to do here. Um, Definitely that can kind of help you, just help you grow and expand, I believe, or help you help your lifestyle improve. That's a better word, maybe, with Mars in the sixth house, improve. It's in nurturing Cancer, so it's kind of telling you to nurture yourself, right? As you proceed. Now, Mars also rules your 10th house of career and personal authority and ambition over your own life. This is your status or your public image, your long-term goals, what you're achieving. It can be the father, it's since it rules authority or authority figures. Yeah, so this can help you with your career when Mars moves into uh, the sixth house, your sixth house, which is in Cancer. All right. We have the new moon, Aquarius, and the new moon is on the next day. And we can see it right here. I think it's cool to look at this, right? The new moon and the sun. That's what the new moon really means. The sun is always there to support it. And these are for new ideas. And it's always the sun and the moon are acting, just in mutual benefit because we have the feminine here and the masculine here, or the yin and the yang, right? I should say yang, but I'm just so used to saying yang. I think it's yang, the yin and the yang. Anyway, that's what we have here. But where was I on this whole thing? I was talking, about the new moon. Yeah. And so the new moon is here. And look how beautiful this is because the new moon is for new seeds that we're planting, right? I'll do a whole separate video on that. It's in Leo. It's in self-expressive, creative, and romantic Leo. And Leo wants to have fun. So this is very cool. And this is in your seventh house of relationships. Jupiter can really help expand your relationships over the next year. It can help you see your relationships from a higher perspective. Also help you to be true to yourself in your relationships. Yes. Yeah, that's very cool. And your creative creative, creative prospects, those can really thrive when we have Jupiter in Leo, especially with business and clients, right? Now, here's Mercury giving you all these ideas, and this is why it's easier to, or this is supporting the new moon in Leo, right? On the 12th of the month, right? And we also have at the end of the month, we have, while I'm, thinking of it, we have the full moon in Pisces. That's a lunar eclipse. And the lunar eclipse they're a little bit more powerful. They can bring endings and culminations. And, full moons are they're kind of a trip, right? So they can bring powerful realizations where I know that I just want to let that go. I don't want this anymore. I want it to end, or that something is just ended, right? Yeah, it can bring that. That's what the powerful realization is. It can mean culminations as well, where whatever you planted seeds 6 months ago is now culminating in Pisces. When we get to the full moon in Pisces, it can be whatever is happening in with the new moon in Pisces, right? So we also have Mercury, and let's look at Mercury now because Mercury is very important. It sure is. Mercury is our thinking. It's in Leo. These are creative ideas, and uh, yeah, you could have passionate conversations as well. With your partners, you might. Um, yeah, interesting. Or creative, also creative conversations with business clients. You sure could. Creative ideas, exactly. But Mercury will move into Virgo. The sun enters Virgo on the 23rd. Let's move it ahead now so you can see that. And here's the sun on the 23rd at 0 degrees. Interesting how, the zero is a degree, right? Right? It is. It's a number. We learned that in algebra, right? It's a number. And you're like, what? We didn't think it was a number. Not really, because it doesn't really have value, right? But that's mathematics, right? So, but here we have the moon entering your eighth house of transformation, Aquarius, the sun rather. So this is showing you that something is going to either regenerate or end for you. Definitely because, we just kind of, yeah, we're moving toward the full moon as well. And that's when the sun will be opposing the full moon. The full moon will be over here um, in Pisces down here. Yeah, but this is, the sun will move into Mercury ruled Virgo at the end of the month. And Mercury is ruling your fifth house of creativity, your fifth house of self-expression and being authentic and true to yourself and love and children and having fun. So Mercury's ruling that. So you could kind of really be having a lot of fun. Leo is already a fun month, right? And so even after the kind of what was I going to say? Let's move Mercury. There it is. Mercury's here ruling this eighth house of transformation. This is emotional intimacy and it rules this house of romantic love as well. OMG. So you're going to be having a lot of romantic fun, I would say, Aquarius, especially as the month continues, right? Especially as Mercury enters this eighth house of emotional intimacy. This is also a money house, so, you might have ideas how to make money. You definitely could. Um, yeah, and you might be understanding Mercury in the eighth house really kind of helps us understand psychological themes very, very deeply. It's just going to show like, oh, wow, I didn't really know that, right? All the while I was thinking this, or maybe even judging, or whatever it is, and then you see that, and it's kind of it can be like an awakening, right? It can. This is the eighth house of awakening for sure. It is. It's a hidden house. It's also a house of psychic ability and the occult, everything that is hidden. So when Mercury enters that eighth house, you could be highly intuitive. You super intuitive at that time, and knowing what you need to move away from. The South Node is in the seventh house here, and that is what we need to move away from. It's lack and limit. Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, and so Mercury will be there. And yes, and then at the end, and then Saturn. Let's just talk a little bit about Saturn because Saturn is your modern ruler. Yes, it is. Um, Yeah, we also have Jupiter. Making a trine to Saturn. Yeah, let's look at that. And I kind of have been forgetting that. Here it is. And this is your natal, and Jupiter is very important because it's in Leo, and we're in Leo season, right? Or it will stay in Leo. We're in on the 25th, we'll be in Virgo season, but Jupiter will be here in Leo for a year. And it's going to be in your seventh house of relationships and partnerships and, harmony and balance for 1 year. And it's making a trine to your natal Saturn in your third house of ideas. You're going to have a lot of creative ideas here over the next year, I believe. Saturn will move a little bit here. Um, but it'll still be in trine because we get a bigger orb with trines a little bit. And so for a long time, that will be there, helping you to expand your creative ideas, helping you to expand your relationships, feel more true and more authentic to yourself in your relationships, and also help you with your career, ideas for the long term. This is helping you with your authority over your own life. OMG. And it's in the sign of the self and very, self-assertive Mars ruled Aries. Mars rules your 10th house of career. So it's really good for you. It is showing you some really good stuff, Aquarius. All right. Yeah. And that is motivating you. It's in motivating Mars to reach for your higher self, to grow and expand. You may want to learn something that is kind of true to you or that is related to your purpose. Might want to go to school and study something. But whatever you're doing here, it's awesome, right? This is about self-mastery as well. It sure is. And the trine can encourage you to be focused, serious, and also patient, but passionate and ambitious and self-expressive and true to yourself all at the same time. Creative goals and projects can become something long-term. Yeah, the trine can create more inner peace for you. It's in your seventh house. Can help you create more peace and inner harmony. Yes, and Saturn is also ruling your 12th house of ending. So whatever this trine has to do with, it is likely you're like you're growing with Jupiter here, so you're releasing something. Yeah, very cool. All right, and very interesting. Of course, it always is. So thank you so much, Aquarius, for joining me here. If you liked my video, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell, and you'll be notified of my next upload. You will. Thank you so much. And yeah, let's move on to Pisces. If you want to get a reading with me, they are awesome. I have my niece I gave a reading to, and she keeps calling me to talk more about it. Yeah, we were on the phone for a very long time on a Zoom call, but she was both of them, they're sisters, and they're both Leos, and they're both like, wow, Auntie, one of them I told her you need to step into your power and stop playing small. And then the other one, she's a therapist already, and she is fascinated with everything that was true, and also trying to show her how to step into her potential, the North Node. That's what the chart is. It's a compass to help you to get to your true potential, right? So yeah, so thank you so much, Aquarius. And now we're on Pisces. We are, um, and so Pisces, yeah. And so let's see what we have for you here today. And the sun is in your sixth house of service and work. This is your house of health and wellness and all the things that make your life work, right? We need good health. We need a job or a business or, right? We need wellness. We do. And daily habits and lifestyle. And those daily habits, Virgo rules the sixth house of daily habits in the natural chart, which is the zodiac, right? And Aries has that. But that sixth house is also, since it's a house of daily habits, and it always opposes the 12th house of, kind of obstacles here, self-undoing. This sixth house, yours is being ruled by the sun. So that sixth house is problem solving as well. So let's go back to the beginning of the month. And at the beginning of the month, we have the sun and Jupiter. I think I was saying that. Did I mention Jupiter? Okay. Well, Jupiter is a great benefic and it likes to be in Leo. It sure does because Jupiter wants growth and expansion, the higher purpose, and Leo is how you shine. It's the sun, it's your talents, it's you being who you truly are and authentic. All right. So that's very important. So the sun is in your sixth house. it's asking you, honestly, Pisces, to step into your talents, or it's asking you to be true to yourself. It's asking you to kind of be true to. Jupiter also has to do with higher realms and what's meaningful, but higher realms in terms of God, integrity, and wisdom. So it's asking you to like kind of go with God and it's like stop. It doesn't have to be stop, but it is a house of obstacles and habits. It's kind of saying, believe in yourself, believe in a higher perspective, go with your true potential, keep going there. It's really what it's saying. It wants you to shine here. So it wants you to be true to yourself. And Jupiter is associated with the truth. So if you're not doing that, right, and then it's really time to do that. I think I talked about that in the full moon. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, I did, because this was here as well, right? Opposing the full moon in Aquarius. Um, yeah, it's asking you to step into your higher self. All right. If you do, you're going to have more job opportunities. You surely are. And your life will flow. Your life will come together in a better way. All right. So Venus, the planet of love, well-being, and finances. Yeah, and that sounds funny, doesn't it? Love and well-being. Well, well-being goes with finances, maybe. It can go with love too, but the finances are for Taurus, the second house in the natural chart, and for Libra, which is creativity and love, right? Relationships, all right? Now, yeah, and so we have Venus entering Libra on the 6th. And here it is. It is in your eighth house of transformation. So you definitely, Pisces, because Venus rules Libra. Now it's in its own sign. So it's super powerful. It's at 0 degrees in your house of transformation, emotional intimacy, and Venus is already love. So, right, and values your self-worth. It rules that. So this here is you have a different perspective. Your perspective on love or how you show up in relationships is changing. Your own well-being, I believe, is changing as we have Venus, making a trine to your 12th house of endings and release. It's Pluto, it's transformation. You're thinking higher of yourself, and that's a great thing. And the sun in with Jupiter kind of in Leo, that can also, that can show you that as well. But Venus here is you're changing here, right? We have a square here with Mars. This can Mars is here um in Gemini, and this can be this can be like, this is thinking Gemini. It can be saying, be careful of arguments, kind of maybe with family members, right? But it can be asking you here not to be, there's something about this here. I don't know if I noted that or not, right? With Mars. I think I might have. Yeah, I have it right here. And so this square is to your house of home and family and emotional security. It could be telling you to slow down and not be reactive. Mars is reactive. Yeah, I mean, everybody has it in their chart. It's great things, right? But every sign has pros and cons. That's the way it's the real world, right? The real astrological world, anyway, right? So, but it can also bring, lively discussions as well. um, yeah, but it's asking you kind of to change in your relationships a little bit, make some type of an adjustment. It could be asking you maybe think before you talk. It could be because maybe, because Mars is in Gemini, and that is, communication. It rules communication. It can be a few things too. You also might pulls between independence that could be possibly supporting your emotional needs now. Maybe you need that right now for some reason, but you want to be in a deep relationship as well. Yeah, that's highly fascinating right there, right? Yeah, it is. All right, so let's go back to where we were. Um, Mars also rules your ninth house of growth and expansion. So you see here what kind of the chart is trying to show you in some way and higher perspective, right? Um, yeah, and Venus, where's Venus? I was talking, Venus rules that third house for you of your thinking, of your ideas, your kind of your plans and your goals, your communication. Yeah, it does. So and your willpower. So, um, yeah, and Venus is, trining, actually making a trine here, it's actually, it's to the moon as well here in Taurus on the 6th. And this is about your well-being as well. This is Venus ruled. So this has a lot to do with your well-being in Taurus, your self-worth, your stability, and your relationships up here, all right, with that trine with Venus. Yeah, it's asking you to make a little bit of an adjustment here, Pisces. At the same time, you have all this good stuff going on here, but this is asking you to be true to yourself. Could be asking you to be true to yourself either about your work or your daily lifestyle. Are you happy in your daily lifestyle? And it could be asking you that here, right? If you are happy, Jupiter's going to help you out and expand it big time over the next year, right? Yeah, highly interesting. Jupiter also, I don't know if I mentioned this, it rules your 10th house of career and authority over your own life. All right. So when we see that, that rulership where Jupiter is ruling, um, yeah, and that is a trine because this is at 8 degrees. Um, Well, it's a very kind of loose trine here, but to this, it's not really a trine, but it is trining. It's kind of an invisible trine here. The trine really is from the south node because it's at 29 degrees and this is at 25. So we can work with a 4 degree or fourth degree 4 degree orb, but Jupiter will move. And the whole thing about these two planets, these two signs and fire signs, there's already a kind of a natural trine going on. So Jupiter is, we could say that Jupiter, the planet of growth and expansion and wisdom and higher purpose and also education, right, is trining this its own sign, Sagittarius, about your career and your authority over your own life. There's some type of philosophy that is kind of changing with you because Jupiter rules, not Jupiter, but Mercury rules your communication. Yeah, and this is ruling your harmony and your balance over here with Venus. So, and Venus is ruling your communication over here. So it's like you're growing or something like that, but you're seeing things different. And I feel like you are asking yourself in a way about if some of you could be asking yourself, am I happy in the way my relationship or the way I kind of show up in a relationship as well? All right. But it's good here. It's transformation and you're stepping into your power and you're being asked to do that. You sure are. All right. Yeah. And so, yeah, we also have Venus making a sextile to Jupiter. No, I'm sorry. Let's look at Venus right here. Yeah, it's making a sextile here. It's at 0 degrees um, as it moves forward. It's already making a sextile to yeah, to Mercury and Jupiter right here. And we can see it. Whoops. And here, this is on the 9th. And Mercury and Jupiter move into a perfect conjunction, which means they are supporting themselves in your 6th house of daily habits, your lifestyle, how you enjoy yourself, love, because it's in Leo, love, and how you shine. There's something in your work, even. So there's something here that you are seeing about yourself, your self-expression, and Venus is like and Jupiter are both kind of blessing you there, all right? And this is transformation. So you're seeing so many things differently, is my whole point. You are, because Venus again is ruling that third house of communication and thinking. Thinking, yeah. Thinking, right? Yeah, beautiful here. Yeah, and so, yep, and let's see what else I have for you here. And Venus and Libra can bring you some inheritance here. Yeah, it can, and maybe even into Venus won't be there that long. It's going to be staying in. It usually stays for 3 weeks to a month. Yeah, it'll be all month in. Excuse me. After it moves into Libra, it will be there until in your 8th house of inheritance. Maybe you're going to get some type of inheritance there, or some type of maybe mutual funds or some type of 401ks that you're cashing out. This is the house of other people's money. Very interesting there, right? So yeah. Um, mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that's what I have for you today, Pisces. Now we have the new moon. I don't think I mentioned this to you yet, but let's move back a whole month here. And we have the new moon in Leo on the 12th. Oops, I don't want January. No, I don't. Here's August, and we'll go to the day, and we'll move up to the 12th. And so here we have the sun um, in that sixth house at the beginning of the month until the 23rd. And so the sun here is, and the new moon will be in Leo on the 12th of the month, asking you, or actually, encouraging you to plant new seeds for the future. And it is either about love or your daily life. It may be about work because that's the sixth house of work and wellness, but it is about how your life is working on a daily basis, whether or not that's work or health or your habits. And so it's encouraging you to plant new seeds regarding about your life. And very interesting because Jupiter is ruling that 10th house of authority over your own life. So whatever the new moon is about, it has to do with you, I believe, on some level, because Jupiter's here all year in Leo. It has to do with kind of are things passionate for you in your life? You're going to be asking yourself these questions. Do I really have authority over my own life here? Is my life passionate? Is it functioning kind of the way I want to? Things like that. Or is it, and also it's ruling your first house, right? So yeah, that Jupiter thing. So I'll have a separate video on that. I definitely will. And oh, let's talk. We didn't talk about Mercury that much, though. Mercury is in Leo until the 25th, and so it's going to move into its own sign, very powerful. On the 25th of the month, we'll go there. Here we already have the sun entering Virgo on the 23rd, and that is Mercury. Mercury rules your fourth house of emotional needs. So when the sun and your seventh house of relationships. So when the sun enters Virgo, near the end of the month, right, the 23rd, the focus will be on home and family or your emotional needs, your emotional security, and also your relationships or harmony and balance in your own life. It can have to do with business and clients and one-on-one, but this is the house of partnerships, whatever partnerships they may be, um, and also harmony. Yeah. So here Mercury is, definitely thinking Gemini is the fourth house, and Uranus is there as well, and the sun will be making a square to Uranus. Look at that, asking for change here. The way you think about, I don't know, how your emotional needs are being met, or home and family, or something like that, right? Those themes. And also, over here, your self-expression and how you show up in relationships really. That south node is also making that part of that square, asking you to leave things behind, to move away from things that limit you so you can shine, so you can be happy as well. So that's what I was saying earlier. You could have been asking sometime in the reading, you could have been asking yourself, well, how am I creating, am I happy? Or is my life functioning? Is it working well, right? Things like that. And am I happy when the sixth house is in your house of daily living? Yeah, very interesting there. But the sun will move Mercury itself, the planet of thinking, right? Mercury is the brains here. It rules your fourth house of emotions and the seventh house. It'll be moving in here. So you're going to be thinking about your relationships, how you show up in them. If you're a professional, you could be thinking about your clients maybe and, new skills or new ideas possibly. You could be thinking about work. Virgo does represent work. It sure does. Yeah, and so, change. You might be embracing change here. That really kind of supports your emotional well-being. You could also be feeling, Pisces, that things are kind of unstable for you. maybe that have to do with work or your how you're creating harmony in your life or how you feel kind of well-being sort of. Um, you could be embracing change, and so maybe you want new work. That's a right. It's in Virgo. Maybe you want new work, but whatever you're doing there, might feel a little unstable, like or unsettling a little bit, but that change will help you. Yeah, it will help you with your ideas, with your perspective. It's in thinking Gemini, right? Gemini rules these your goals, your ideas, and things like that. So. Yeah, that's going to be very interesting for you. A lot of reflection here with Mercury in analytical Virgo or refining Virgo. Yeah, we need Virgo because Virgo helps us improve things. Yeah, nothing would get better without Virgo. Yeah. Don't worry. Try not to worry because Mercury in Virgo can, especially with the square here, it can make you feel worried about something. Okay, so yeah, do not, maybe you're worried about family or something. This is the fourth house of family, or your emotional needs not being met, something like that. Because change, Uranus is change. And whenever change shows up, we don't know if our emotional needs are going to be met. No, we don't know because we have to kind of take a chance, right? But I will be back with the full moon lunar eclipse in your sign on the 28th. And that is going to be so very interesting because you rule the 12th house, the most interesting house of the unconscious mind, dreams, illusions, spiritual growth, intuition. It's really spiritual growth. Yeah, I said that, but mystery. Very interesting. So that will be on the 28th. And of course, I'll have it for all the 12 signs. So thank you so much for joining me here, Pisces. If you liked my video, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell. You'll be notified of my next upload. If you want a reading with me, they're very deep. Pisces is deep because Pisces mantra is I feel, right? Um, and leave a comment. It's really helpful if you guys make comments, right? And the timestamps are right in the comments as well. If you didn't see the intro, I would suggest you go back and watch that, right? Because it really ties into the rest of the reading. Thanks so much for joining me here, Pisces, and I'll see you in the next one.